Hey, what is happening, everybody? It is Saturday, and we're streaming again. That's right. Sun is still up, so it's a little bright in here, but hey, nothing wrong with that. I was like, should I close the blinds? Nah, keep the blinds open, so it's pretty bright in here. It'll go down in the next 45 minutes for sure. Welcome to it's like a Patreon members only stream. Not members only. Not only, there's going to be panel people that you've seen before, people that didn't, make it to the Vodka stream last night. Hey, now it's Saturday. You can come on and talk to me, talk to them. So if you want to be a part of that, become a member of the channel or subscribe to the first and second tier of the Patreon, and you could come on and have a little chat. So we'll get some members in here. We'll have like a pretty good panel in here. So should be fun times. Hopefully you guys are doing good. Good Saturday. What did I do today? Well, not much. It's Saturday. I had a long week, a busy week. So I was like lazy, not that lazy. I did run some errands, did that. Got a delicious sandwich today at this sandwich shop that I just recently found that's in my the town that I live in. I just was like, I've only been to the sandwich place once in like the 5 years I've been here. And I was like, why have I only been here once? These sandwiches are amazing. So I went and got one of those sandwiches. They're can be pretty pricey though. It's a mom and pop shop, but you want to support that every now and again. So I had a delicious sandwich. Watched a couple episodes of Shogun. No, only one episode of Shogun today. So I'm still trying to, get through, still getting through that and enjoying that. But then I was like, well, I've been in an Planet of the Apes mode, obviously watching Kingdom. So I watched Rise and I watched Dawn. And, Rise is great. I forgot that Rupert Wyatt, because I was wondering who directed Rise of the Planet of the Apes. It was Rupert Wyatt. And I was trying to remember. I was like, who? And then I was like, I was like trying to remember. It's like, did Andy Serkis did do Caesar like in the first one too, right? Sure enough, yeah. I was like, okay, because I mean, I know he did it for obviously the other two, but I wasn't sure. I was like, did he also do it for the first one? Yeah, because I haven't seen Rise in so long, and it's such a good start off to this new modern day story of Planet of the Apes. I'm not gonna lie. Just rewatching it again, going, yeah. I mean, there's maybe some issues, but the mocap and some of the VFX work, but this is like a decade ago or something like that. So it's not as polished as it is now, but it's still a very good that third act with everything and then the way that it ends, showing when the virus just like spreads. And then Matt Reeves was like, I'm going to utilize that for my opening credits and then add a little bit more to it. And then the way that he starts it off with like right on the eyes, and then he ends it like that too. Dawn is a masterpiece. I mean, again, just rewatching it today, and I'll probably watch War after I get done with this stream. I'm probably going to put on War right after this, or I'll watch it tomorrow, depending. But I was just like, this fucking movie is a master. I couldn't get any work done because I was like too like fixated on having it on, and I was like, I can't. I did upload some things today, but I already had some of those videos done. But I'll tell you what, Dawn is just such a fucking masterpiece, and Andy Serkis deserved like a nom for his acting performance. 100% on that. So, anyways, hopefully you guys are doing good. Doing well. How we doing here? We got Bruce Timm back with Batman again. Yeah, I wanted to talk more tonight about Cape Crusader, because we talked briefly about it last night, from what I can remember. No, I remember most of it, but apparently it got a little raunchy towards the end of the stream, and I was like, did I say something bad? Maybe, probably did. But so we kind of briefly talked about it, but I wanted to talk about it a little bit more, especially with like the images got released. And obviously August 1st being the dates that Cape Crusader is coming out. What's going on, Eric? Oh, yeah. Speaking of Eric, he is the executive producer of Film Junkie live streams this week. So cheers, Eric, for being the executive producer of the streams this week. Like I said, if you're part of the Patreon and you're helping, the pirate ship, you're an executive producer right here. So anyways, so there's that. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah. it's going to be interesting to see like who's the voice. And it's funny too, because we'll talk about it when we get the panel on here. It's the era of trunks and collars. Yeah, I know, right? The trunks are back. The undies are back. They're back in fashion. It's I don't know. I mean, like I said, live action, I'm just kind of still going, I don't know about it. What's going on, Mr. Nobody? Hey, Dave, although the Superman suit is not amazing overall, it seems practical. True. And it looks weaved to be bulletproof, I'm assuming, so that Superman doesn't get his suit damaged. Yeah. I mean, and we might be going back to the whole Martha Kent is the one who made the suit. That's what a lot of people are kind of like assuming. So maybe, I mean, I don't know where she got the fabric, bulletproof. I mean, maybe they'll explain that. There could be that too. Because like he's bulletproof, but it's like, hey, you don't want to. It was always a weird thing, like when you just have like a normal, just regular suit, like like Reeves suit, Reeve, and like any other suit, like even like Dean Cain and Lois and Clark. It's like his mom made it. I remember that's shown in the first episode, but at the same time, it's like I don't know. Maybe there's like more to it that I don't remember. But yeah, what's going on, Jason? Good to see you. We got Max Wolf Danger right here. Hey, Dave. What up? I'm doing good. Batman Cape Crusader first look looks weird. Harley Quinn looks weird. And Dave, I stepped outside for a while. My reaction was like, OMG, holy shit. It's fuck hot outside. Well, it's a little warm today too in Cali. Not too bad right now. It's 77 degrees right now. So not too bad. But yeah, it's starting to get a little warm, but I'm hoping I'm like delay the summer as much as possible. I don't want to turn on my AC so much. I did turn on my AC a little bit though today. Let's see what's going on, Axel. Good to see you. It was epic. There you go. Are we talking about apes? There, Mr. Real Anarchy, Lord Acorn. Hey, I'm back from yesterday. Thoughts on King in MCU? What about Mole Man? Fantastic Four rumors. We'll see. It could show up in there, maybe not, but who knows? It seems like they're going for a big, huge epic with Galactus and everything, but maybe. I know the rumors are going to be running rampant, and apparently there was like the leak that happened when it came to Captain America: Brave and the Bold. Now, Marvel Studios has a lawsuit on people who are putting out those certain links. Scoopers who put out leaks and information behind a paywall are now fucked now. And good. They should be. If you get something that's not yours and you're going to leak it to people behind a paywall, fuck you. I'm just saying. And I'm glad that they're cracking down on it. I'm glad that, there's one thing that it's just a leak. One thing that's just a leak. But if you're going to charge people to leak it, even though I don't even understand when people actually do that for the leak, for like an actual leak, something where they actually obtain something that is not theirs that they were going to be showing, to do that behind a paywall, it's just kind of like, yeah, you're, yeah, it's, I'm not sure exactly who, yeah, but I don't know. They just put out a lawsuit out there. Some people are pointing the fingers at certain scoopers out there. It's pretty interesting, but I was like, whoa, that's not good. And I don't even know if said scooper has even been tweeting at all today. So that's going to be interesting. Anyways, Nerdy Mastermind, I find it interesting that Marvel fans celebrate comic book accurate costumes, Wolverine, for example, but if DC does it, like giving Superman trunks. Yeah, well, I think there's just, I think there's some DC fans that don't want fully. I mean, there's a lot of, it's funny because on my timeline, I have a mixed bag. I always try to have a mixed bag because I want to see multiple different opinions. I don't want to be caught in an echo chamber when it comes to anything. So I see a mixed bag. There are a lot of people that really love the trunks. But I think there's some people, specifically like us in the Snyder fandom, that now that we've seen the costume without the trunks, we're like, yeah, we don't need the trunks. Even the bat suit without the trunks. We're just kind of like, yeah, we don't need to see the trunks. But hey, if you can make it work, you can make it work. Zach wanted to make it work. He tried when it came to Man of Steel. He was pushing for it, but it's whatever. It's fine. All right. Let's go ahead and start bringing some people into the panel right now. Make sure I got my background. All right, we got Phil, we got Scott, we got RJ, we got executive producer Eric Blake, and we got Rebecca. What's happening, everybody?
Hey guys.
Hello. How you doing, Dave?
Good. How you guys doing?
Same as ever.
Don't all answer at once now.
I'm doing good. I just got back from seeing Apes, so.
Ooh, okay. Curious of we could start off with that. I don't know how many people have seen Kingdom.
No spoilers. I haven't
No
seen
spoilers.
it
We're Are you okay, Scott? You sound a little tired. Are you okay?
yet. I'm in bed in my underwear, so not to get everyone like.
Oh,
You gotta remember, this is a 2:45 in the morning day for me.
Oh yeah,
so
you woke up super early.
Oh,
today.
I
boy.
woke up super early, and so I was gonna try to go see Apes tonight, and I want to see an IMAX, but the latest showing was 10:30, and already I was fading, and then I saw it was a 2.5 hour movie, and I went,
Nope.
nope.
No.
Yeah, it's
My,
fun.
this 40 club member is not going to make it that late.
No. And you know, and good on you, because I mean, like it's not like there's like action the whole time. There's a lot of like scenes that just like that breathe. Not a
Yeah,
bad thing.
It's a lot
but
of like character work where it's like really
Yeah.
trying to establish these new characters.
Yep.
Hey,
but no,
Dave, by the
I really liked it. Probably my
Yeah.
second favorite behind Dawn.
Really? Okay, cool. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I could see that. I'm gonna rewatch War because I watched Rise and Dawn today. Did a rewatch. Rise is a good start off. Dawn is just a fucking masterpiece, in my opinion.
See, War is my favorite.
Really interesting. Okay.
I really love War. So I
I'm in
actually
the
saw
Dawn camp.
Dawn and War on the same day because I wanted to go see War when it came out in theaters, and I hadn't seen Dawn yet because I thought Rise was okay. So it didn't inspire me to want to see Dawn. But while we were doing Squadcast and Matt Reeves got picked to direct the Batman, I was like, okay, I gotta start digging into this guy's filmography. So I literally watched Dawn and then left and watched War. So it was a double feature for me.
That's pretty awesome. It's a good double feature. Yeah, I mean, like War. I mean, I mean, it's got Woody Harrelson being like the villain, and you know, anytime Woody Harrelson's in a movie, you know, he's always gonna play a good character.
Well, War,
Even if the movie sucks.
War for me is like one of the best action sequences in all of those movies where
Probably, yeah, I
him
could see
and that
that.
Black Ops team going into the cave. It's like wow, like that was just crazy.
I think Dawn just has there's just so many scenes that look gorgeous, and I think just Matt Reeves style. I mean, there's like a 30-something second one shot when you see what's his name, the main character, just going through when all these apes are like attacking, like the bad apes. And I was like, geez, I forgot that he had this like kind of one shot thing. It's not a long one shot. It's not like it goes on forever, but it goes on for about 30 or so seconds. And it's so intense, and it's just there's a lot of tension in Dawn. And I think Serkis's performance in Dawn is just so like I tweeted it out. Like 12 minutes in, I forgot, like, oh yeah, like his wife, I guess you could say, like gives birth to like a new son, and then she's sick, and it's like this heartwarming thing. And I was like, oh shit, I forgot how like much this hits you in the heart feels. There's like so many times in Dawn where you just start going, you know.
You can't forget Toby Kebbell as Koba.
Dude, he's such a good villain. Such a good villain.
Have you guys seen the memes going around where there's like, what if Koba was in every movie?
Yeah.
I love the one for Heat. That was the one that made me go, this is brilliant.
It's totally brilliant because I know, like, because I follow that account that puts Paddington Bear in multiple movies.
Oh yeah, me too.
So basically, they're trying to like do that now, and I love that Matt Reeves like went on Twitter and started retweeting some of those, and he was like, "Yes." I was like, "Yeah, I love that Matt Reeves is in there." So it's just it's just pretty. It was pretty funny. It's pretty funny.
He's got a good sense of humor, that man.
I mean, you have to in this business, and but yeah, Kingdom, go watch it. I think, I mean, just I can't wait to watch it again because, again, continuing the story, especially like rewatching and seeing how, I mean, again, it's like when you watch Rise and you just watch that first scene, you're like, that's where it all started. It's like you see this saga that they're, and then of course them wanting to do like 9 movies, which is absolutely insane. But hey,
but you know what? What I'm loving about these new movies is that they're going back and telling the history of what happened in a way that is so much better than the original films, because I did go back 10 years ago and watched all 5 of the OG Planet of the Apes movies, and it is just a lesson in diminishing returns as those films go on. So it's kind of cool that these movies are telling you that history that you get in those later films, but just doing it on such a higher level.
Yeah, better.
I think, you know what? I actually might do that tonight instead. I think I might try to watch the original Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
Instead of watching War. Maybe I'll save War for tomorrow, because I don't know. I haven't watched the original since I was like,
I think they added like all 5 of the originals of Disney Plus like the other day.
They are.
Okay.
They're on there. Yeah. It's funny because Dave mentioned the Burton flick with Wahlberg. I watched that recently.
Ooh, how did that go?
I mean, I remember seeing that one as a kid with my dad, my uncle, a couple other people, and I just remember thinking the entire time, like, what the fuck is going on? I have absolutely zero. I had no clue. Like, it was, kind of a reboot of those films from, the ones that Scott mentioned. I had no idea that it was like kind of rebooting that. I had no idea those films were even a thing until I was much older. And then I rewatched the Wahlberg film and I was like,
it's not terrible.
It's the least Tim Burton film Tim Burton's ever made.
It doesn't feel Tim Burton-y, really. It actually doesn't. It was like he was trying to make something outside his normal signature, I guess you could say.
Yeah, between that and Peter Jackson's King Kong, I was like,
yeah,
and
isn't like in the end of the Tim Burton movie, isn't that actually the original twist ending of like the original story that Planet of the Apes is based on, where he fixes his ship and he launches and he goes out into and he thinks like he's going back to his present, but what he landed on was a present day Planet of the Apes.
I don't remember.
Originally that was like the original twist of like the original story or whatever, but then when they did the Charlton Heston movie, they thought no, it would be much more simple and much more powerful. That the twist was he realizes that this planet he was been on was Earth all along. It's just the far future. Hence, the classic "Damn you all to hell" and all that.
Damn you! I forgot that when I was watching Rise, they have they use the "Get your damn paws off me, you damn dirty ape" or something like that. Use that line. I was like, oh yeah, they shoehorned that line into the movie with that dickhead dude from that's part of that. Where Caesar is being held captive, I guess you could say.
Yeah, they did that in Rise.
Speaking of shoehorn, by the way, apparently Charlton Heston made a cameo in the Tim Burton one as the father of the general.
He was one of the apes. Yeah.
Yes. And as he dies, he says his last words as he dies was "Damn them all to hell."
Of course, yeah, you have to do that. That's a classic line right there. We got some more people joining in. We got Taladia Plays, we got Axel, and we got formerly known as Saggy, not so much anymore.
I came on, so I heard there needed to be more female representation, but I already see we got RJ on the panel, so I don't need to be here.
Damn.
Wow.
Oh. Well, which RJ? Like Rebecca Johnson, her initials are RJ.
Yeah, we do have some RJs here.
Yes. Coming in guns blazing right here. Jeez.
Pew pew.
Shots fired. Pew 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 pew.
Pew pew.
Yeah.
How are we doing today, guys?
I haven't been here for a while, so I said, "Oh, I'm a member. I can come on."
There you go.
Great to have you back.
Thank you.
I thought to come on. I'm doing great, firstly, and thanks for having me on. I thought to come on because I want to support you as much as I can.
Appreciate it.
Whether it's on Patreon, whether it's on YouTube, as long as it helps you. So.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate the support. I mean, I'm trying to build more after what happened with the YouTube channel a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
try to build the Patreon just a little bit more. And like I said, anybody can spray. You could do it for free, as well as, but really just trying to push a lot of things over there because you never know when this shit might just go away because YouTube, I mean, that was a fun few days.
Yeah. And on that note, based on the more involvement, may I say it's an honor and privilege to be your executive producer this week, Dave.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you.
Exactly. And by the way, since I am as are all of us, officially classified associate producers of Zack Snyder's Justice League, and now I'm an executive producer of the Film Junkie. I've got my creds. I've got an official bunch of street creds now.
Put it on your resume.
Darn right.
Put it on your resume.
Exactly. Here's to it. Here's to it all.
We gotta add Erica as my executive producer. There's another one.
There we go.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Dave, by the way, I wanted to make sure I made you brought this up in your solo portion. So I wanted to bring this up because you were asking, you addressed the issue of Superman's suit being bulletproof, even when it's made out of normal fabric. They did explain that in the comics, and that explanation was used in Lois and Clark, which is the idea that he emits basically what effectively is like a personal force field, like an inch or two above his skin, and that is what was the comic book science explanation for why his suit wouldn't get damaged. Because there's even a scene in Lois and Clark where Clark wraps himself around Lois when he's being shot at in his apartment. And when the wall flips around, because they had like the wall where he kept his costume that would like turn 360, and the costume's like all covered in bullet holes. And Lois was like, I thought the suit was indestructible. And then they have some really awkward expositional dialogue to explain the force field thing. But no, that's actually, I think that's a John Byrne thing, but it was definitely what they later incorporated into Lois and Clark. So
it's like when I was talking about that, I knew that there was some explanation out there because I was like, there's no way that there hasn't been. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure that this has been talked about, but it just helped. It makes sense.
Yeah, it's interesting, Scott, that you mentioned that it was John Byrne who did that, because of course John Byrne was when he kicked off he was the first Superman post-crisis Superman run with the Man of Steel miniseries. But then
I am fully aware.
But the thing is, here's the thing. This is what I'm getting at. After him, of course, was Dan Jurgens. And with Dan Jurgens, we got the death of Superman. And in the whole sequence with the death of Superman, his fighting Doomsday, his suit gets all ripped up to shreds.
Well, yeah, because he's getting his ass kicked
by Doomsday.
By Doomsday. So it's that idea that he is physically being harmed by Doomsday, thus the costume is also getting harmed. Now, that was an interesting point, though, is that his cape would get ripped even in those comics because the force field didn't extend to the cape. It was like because the suit's like skin tight on him, and that was the whole technobabble comic book science explanation for it.
It's so funny because I mean, like we recently on DC Fanimated, we talked about obviously Superman and not needing to eat, but still does, like because that the late Mr. Kent episode that we talked about, where he does mention that in his inner monologue that he doesn't need to eat, but he
That's a good episode.
It's a very good episode. One of the best episodes. We had a good time talking about that, but we were kind of just like thinking like, yeah, that is one of those things where it's like it's just another thing of Superman where it's like, that doesn't really get mentioned much, where it's like, he can eat, but he doesn't need to eat like humans do. He just needs the sun to basically,
replenish and nourishment.
Yeah, exactly. So it's always like a weird thing. But I want to go around the horn with some of the people, and since we're talking about Superman's costume, how are we feeling about it? Rebecca, I wanted to ask you first. How are you feeling about that Superman suit reveal?
It's fine. There you go. I love it. It is what it is. I was surprised that they used that image as the first reveal of his costume. I thought it was everything against what they purported to be doing. It was kind of a sad looking image. It was kind of dark. His suit was dark. So I was very confused by it. I thought it's you have all the things in a Superman costume that's there, so that's fine. I did think it was there's a continual problem with a lot of these suits. It happened with Superman and Lois too, where sometimes Superman, as much as I love Tyler Hoechlin's Superman, sometimes he looked like he was wearing like a costume from Party City because it never fit him well. It never fit him correctly. It would bunch up. And I don't know why they have those problems, but it looked like they had that problem with David Cornsweet as well. So I don't know. I'm kind of in wait and see mode. I really just want this movie to succeed so we can get that Woman of Tomorrow movie. That's really all I care about. Yeah. Because I don't want it to be shelved for tax purposes. So I really want the Superman movie to succeed so that the second movie that comes after it will also get put in theaters. But I just thought it was kind of a weird image. It's not what I would have picked, but I'm sure they have their reasons for doing it. I did think it was weird. Everybody's talking about the suit. Everybody's talking about the trunks. My thing was, why is he sitting in an apartment with like floor to ceiling windows? Is he in a high rise like studio apartment? Where is this where he lives? So I was really confused about that. Was
Daily Planet is paying Clark well, apparently.
He is an influencer now. He's taking after Jimmy Olsen in My Adventures with Superman. He's an influencer. He's got millions of viewers on YouTube. So now he gets paid by his sponsorships. I just thought it was a strange first image because to me it's not kind of what they sort of try to proclaim that they were doing with Superman, that the movie was going to have more humor and it was going to be more traditional Superman and all this kind of stuff. And so it was kind of strange that it seemed like it was going against that. But it's a Superman suit. I'm sure it'll look better when you see it on the big screen, and maybe there's a second one that he gets. I did think it was interesting that he's very dirty, probably doesn't smell very good.
Kryptonian body odor. What does that smell like?
He doesn't sweat though. Kryptonians don't sweat.
That's true.
He's probably fine.
See, that's a Lois and Clark episode I remember when I did a rewatch. I remember I was like watching this episode. I'm like, Jesus Christ, are you guys not seeing that Clark is not? Remember when like there was like a heat wave and like the AC was out and did the Daily Planet and they're all like, I think that's when they all got horny for each other. Maybe I don't know if it was that same episode, but anyways, there's like
the one with the pheromones.
Was that the same episode?
Maybe.
I can't remember.
I don't know.
Maybe it was the same. I don't know. Yeah. But there is the episode where obviously there's a heat wave and everybody's just like, and Clark is still wearing his full-on jacket and everything. They're not sweating, and people are going like, "Why are you not sweating?" It's like, guys, are you not putting it together that this guy's not human? It's like right here, he's giving it away right now. I mean, Clark should have done his best. He should have went into the bathroom and just freaking threw water.
I know, right?
Oh God, it's freaking hot. Throw some water under his pits, and then he's just like, or something. Anyways, all right, Phil, we already got your reaction.
Yeah. I don't need to speak anymore. I don't need to say anymore.
Eric next. Eric.
Yeah. Well, I kind of touched on it in the Q&A this week, but yeah, my thoughts are basically, I do appreciate how unorthodox Gunn's approach to the suit is, because look, we're used to it being like certainly in Henry Cavill's case, it's a suit of armor, but traditionally the suit is made to accentuate his how he's like his bulk, it makes him look big, but this one doesn't. But this suit, what it does is it makes him look like a working man. Like, he's got the cape, yes, but his suit has the style, if you will, of a blue collar, pun intended, but it's a technician or a mechanic or a fireman. Like, it's that kind of or a welder. It's that kind of working man's uniform. So, and it has him with that attitude, as opposed to him being like a big knight in shining armor. And so I appreciate what he's going for. Now, as to whether or not I will like that, well, I need to see more of it. I need to see it in action, because as you pointed out, Rebecca, it doesn't really accentuate him that well. It's kind of loose. Certainly the way he's sitting down, the way it creases, it's very loose. But again, it doesn't make him look like a warrior or a knight. It makes him look like a working man. So okay,
you mentioned that during like Film Junkie Live, and I actually thought that's interesting because it does, because like like you said, this is a job for Superman, and it's like so now they're emphasizing the fact that it's like, okay, so yeah, it's his job. It's not who he is. He wants, and we even kind of talked about this on DC Fanimated. We talked about how. So I think it was the same episode when it came to the late Mr. Kent. It's like he was in that episode, he was very much wanting Clark Kent to win because he very much wants to be Clark Kent. And when Clark dies, and he's like with his parents, and he's like, I can't just be Superman. I'll go crazy. It's like he really fell in love with the persona that he created for himself to be a human being.
Yeah.
So it is kind of like, in the sense of like, I'm wondering if that's what I'm hoping, to be honest, that Gunn is going to like kind of represent that here where, because a lot of people refer to Kill Bill Volume 2. We even talked about it too.
Yeah.
In the episode where I agreed with it at first when I watched. I was like, oh yeah, Superman is wearing a disguise when he's Clark and the real person Superman. But then it's like, now when you think about it, now in retrospect, we're like, no. Yeah. He's like.
And by the way, it's ironic that Bill, in that same speech, he also gets Batman dead wrong. Because he says that Bruce Wayne is the real thing, but Batman's like, no. Bill, you are clearly not a Batman fan, because every Batman fan knows that Batman is his real persona. Bruce Wayne, billionaire playboy, is the act.
That's what we talked about too, where it's like, it's more the other way when it comes to Batman. So,
speaking of Batman, you, Rebecca, you brought up like how interesting it is that he's in this high rise where he can see everything, and all I can say is that part of the shot. I was just reminded of that classic moment in Batman Returns where Bruce Wayne is just sitting in his like mansion's like office or whatever, and he's just brooding in the dark. And then, the mirrors like reflect the bat signal, and he just snaps up and he's active because he's just sitting there waiting.
One of the best superhero shots in a movie, live action movie. I love that shot.
Yeah, and just like that's what it reminds me of. Like he's sitting there, kind of waiting, but I guess presumably he sees like the action that's going on around him. It's like, okay, time to get to work.
Yeah, I like the idea of painting him as the everyman, having that approach to Superman. But I think the high-rise apartment building is
not an everyman.
not applicable to that. When I saw the image, I thought the more appropriate thing, if that was what they wanted to convey, there's a really famous Alex Ross image where Superman's got his shirt off and he's sitting in a recliner or a chair like at his home. And he looks like he just got home from something and he's just now relaxing. I thought that if that was what they were trying to communicate, that would have been, you would have twofold. You'd be able to communicate that. And then you would also be paying homage to a really famous Superman image. That's the direction I would have gone in, but also this is not my movie.
I wish they did. I wish he had like that, the white shirt over unbuttoned and he's just kind of sitting there and it's like half that would have been a great, just having the shirt over that would have, I could have even ignored what's going on in the background, which looks too photoshoppy, too weird and everything like that. It's like I would have, I don't know, somebody was going to say something. Who was going to say
well that Alex Ross painting also reminds me of scenes from the George Reeves television show, like especially in the later seasons when George Reeves was getting a little tired of doing the show and being Superman, so he tried to bring a little bit more drama. Because I remember there's a scene where he's sitting in his easy chair in the Superman costume, but wearing the glasses, and he gets so frustrated that he like smashes the little coffee table or side table next to his chair. I remember this scene from the Adventures of Superman, and so when I see that Alex Ross image, I think of that scene from the George Reeves show.
Okay, interesting. So now that you're talking, Scott, I mean, let's get your initial thoughts when you saw the image.
Okay, the interesting thing about the image is that I feel like there's two things to discuss with it.
Okay.
There's the costume, and then there's the image. And I feel like those are two different conversations.
I agree with that.
As far as the costume is concerned, I'm with Rebecca. There's a lot of what Rebecca said that reflects my thoughts as well. My initial response is, it's fine. It's a Superman suit, okay? So positives to it, I like the texture. I like the fact that it isn't just tights. You know, I mean, even Christopher Reeve's costume, we've discussed this before. You'd have no idea about the work Christopher Reeve put into his physical transformation, because I've seen videos of him working out
with Darth Vader.
And that costume completely hides all of it because it just smooths him out. So that's been an issue, you know, that's kind of been an issue long-standing as far as Superman costumes go. Another positive for me about the costume was when they, at CinemaCon, when they revealed the design of the Superman S, I think I even said on the Vodka stream, I think I said I was whelmed. What I loved about the image, about seeing the actual suit, is how well the S does look on the suit.
Yes.
Like it worked as an icon. I was like, okay. On the suit itself, it worked for me. So I think another thing being that this suit is going to be, I need to see it like in actual, like with actual cinematography, color correction, you know, in action. Because like Rebecca said, I'm going to go back to something Rebecca said that I also thought about. When I noticed the bunching around the shoulders and in the armpits, I too thought about Tyler Hoechlin's costume, because I, as someone who loves Superman and Lois and loves what that show has been as a Superman TV show, I have also on DC TV Squadcast complained about the bunchiness and the obvious padding that you can see in the show. When he just stands there, it looks fine. But sometimes there's certain, like if he's
even when he's flying, it would look a little weird, right?
It would look a little weird. Or like when he's like laying down, he's like pushing himself up. It's like you see the padding, you see the crinkles, and all these superhero suits have padding in them. It's just how well they've manufactured the costume to where it doesn't stand out. So once again, that's something that, while the shot didn't sell it for me, I'm curious about how, do I see it like I see it in Tyler's suit, or does it not or do they shoot it better? Those are questions that I have. I like the collar. Actually, going back to the comment that one of the viewers said about comic accurate, well, technically, even before we had no trunks in the Snyder movies, the New 52 Jim Lee designs had already gotten rid of the trunks anyway in 2011.
Yeah, they had collars too, right?
Yep.
And he had the collar. I like the collar. I've been someone who actually appreciates the Jim Lee Superman design from the New 52. The writing was a different story, but the design was kind of cool for me in the costume. So those are my thoughts on the costume itself. The image, unfortunately, the way it was presented, it just looked meh. And I think some people who, if they're being honest, are having a meh reaction to the suit, because the image itself is a bit meh. It's not particularly well composed.
Yeah.
The background looks really weird. And I think it's unfair, if we want to talk about the suit itself, to conflate it with the image that was used to reveal the suit.
Yeah, I agree.
And so I will criticize the choice of image while saying the suit's fine. And I want to see the suit in action as filmed before I deliver some sort of final verdict on the suit. But the image, but the reveal image is one where I go, well, it was a choice, and it didn't win me over.
Yeah,
like the image doesn't hype me. So and usually that's what these reveal images are for. But also, I've gone through I've gone through a lot of suit reveals, and sometimes a suit reveal that like I remember Tyler's reveal, not the Supergirl suit, because I've always hated the Supergirl suit, but even.
You mean Superman suit on Supergirl?
Yes.
There you go.
Because I would be throwing hands if you said you hated.
Oh
Supergirl.
no. Rebecca, I respect
She would
you too
reach
much.
right through the screen.
No, she would drive up to my house and take down the door. I understand. No, but I do. I mean, Tyler's suit on Supergirl, I always despised that.
That's
suit.
the one with the cape clip, isn't it?
That's the one with the cape clips.
That's what I thought. Yeah,
but that one fit him better.
It did fit him better, but it didn't look that great.
Like this other version of Superman in that show where in Superman and Lois, where he's wearing the black suit and he's got the collar. So I think that looks cool.
The black suit was was part of the Elseworlds crossover.
That's right. Yeah.
So that
also,
was also
Axel, I don't know if your microphone's actually on. It sounds like you're on a different microphone. You sound very echoey.
I mean, I didn't know if it was just me, but it sounded like most of you guys sounded a little quiet.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe because you're on your phone, right?
Well, I've always been on my phone, but this is the first time everyone sounded kind of quiet.
Well, I'm also on my AirPods. I'm not using like my podcasting mic.
Everybody sounds good to me for sure. But to go around the horn let's go to Saggy or Ray. What do you feel? How you feel about the Superman suit?
Oh man, I think it's fine. It's a Superman suit. It's got the colors. It's got the underwear, and I mean, it's a Superman suit. It's a Superman suit. I saw it and I was like, why are people angry? Am I missing something? They have not enough blue and red. I'm confused. It's like I just don't get the issue. I mean, there have been many different Superman suits that have existed and been worn by different actors. Why does it have to be such a big deal? Like, what do people expect the suit to be? Like, should we just make him like a Power Ranger suit and just put a cape on it? I don't understand. Does he need a helmet?
It's the internet. The internet. Everyone must make everything the most important thing in the world. Don't you know this? Don't you understand this? How the internet works?
Apparently, and I will say, like, to Scott's point, I agree with like the image. I saw an image where it was him sitting in front of like his home, putting on, which that made more sense, especially for like what James Gunn said the story was supposed to be, you know. But yeah, overall the suit's like it's fine. I think that people nitpicking it to hell, it's like, I don't get the issue. It's literally a suit. It's simple. Superman has one of the most simplest suits too. Like
it's the first. True. I mean, let's be honest.
One of the things about Superman, lucky for him, he doesn't wear a cowl. You know, and the cowl is always like a big thing, like especially when it comes to Batman. I mean, there's some people like when it comes to Pattinson's like cowl, they hate that. And I would say, the cowl is I appreciate the cowl, the Pattinson cowl, because it's very much different. But I get people's gripes. I think the suit, to me, the suit really grew on me, because even at first I was taken aback by it. I was like, whoa, that's different. But then it just like took me a minute to be like, oh, you know what? This may. But the cowl was like a little bit like, whoa, like that. But at the same time, now I appreciate the cowl because of how different it is. Now, when it comes to like good cowls, I mean, I think Keaton and Affleck have like really, I'll always say like, the BVS bat suit is always going to be. But I do like the Justice League traditional bat suit too with that cowl. And I know some people didn't like how they changed the cowl a little bit. Like it looks a little different. Some people don't like how that looks. I still think I still like it, but the BVS one's always going to be. But I liked both Keaton cowls when it came to Batman and Batman Returns, and I mean, when it came to the 90s stuff, like even Kilmer and Clooney's cowl, I thought was fine. I mean, yeah, even though like I actually like the suit, even with nipples and everything. I'm okay with it.
I mean, as for Pattinson's suit, I mean, I've said it a lot, but like Robert Pattinson's cowl is basically Adam West cowl, but straight black.
That's what it is. That's why I appreciate it, because Matt Reeves really tried to take the Adam West ideas and try to modernize, ground them, and gritty them as much as possible. And I think that the costume designers really did a good job when it came to all the designs of each of the characters, specifically when it came to the bat suit. And I'm like, I appreciate it. I just absolutely appreciate it. So when it comes to even like the Superman costume, it's like, yeah, I mean, like what Saggy was saying was just like, yeah, it's a Superman. I mean, like, what are we expecting here? I'm like, yeah, I mean, I get that, but I mean, like, it was just, yeah, it just kind of throws. I think it's not so much the suit, it's the reveal. Here you go. This is what it is. It's like really, this is the first image that you're gonna give, and like, oh, okay, like the presentation is not good. It's not so much the suit. There's things I like about the suit, even though I'm like, yeah, it kind of throws you off that it's bunched up, but I can appreciate that because we don't need it to be skin tight. That's something different, sure, but it's just the presentation was a little bit like,
I mean, like the common complaint, isn't it? It's basically, look, I love and I agree. I love and appreciate that this working man Superman, he looks worn out, his suit's burned, and he's like kind of slowly like, like he's at the end of the day of his workday essentially, but there's a disaster going on outside. Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of the part of it for me, is that trying to be introduced to a new Superman. So we're changing Superman, we're going into a different era, and this is the first way that they're trying to sell it to me. It's a really hard sell, because at this point in the DC movie timeline, I'm pretty burned out. I'm going to be honest. Yeah. I'm pretty burned out on superhero movies. I'm burned out on DC stuff, and I shouldn't be. I should be like the audience that they're going for. And so to see a Superman who seemingly isn't really bothered by going out from his high-rise apartment complex where he's living large to go save Metropolis, and the idea that Superman is putting on his boots slowly is also very kind of stupid to me.
But see, that's the thing. And it's like, there's more context there. See, there's some context that it's like, and there has not been any explanation of the context, which I'm like, okay, so maybe when we get some more context of that, there could be like, hey, oh, this is what I was going for. Maybe, I don't know. But Saggy, did you have anything else that you wanted to add to this whole thing?
People crying over a super suit probably should, go outside once in a while.
Maybe see a therapist.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Saggy. All I can think of when you said that was, woman, where is my super suit?
What?
Well, yeah, from Incredibles, yeah.
The Incredibles.
I mean, pretty much.
From Zone. I love that. Samuel Jackson, treasure. Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much. Perfect. I mean, what more is there to say? I mean, like I said, people are gonna nitpick the suit. They're gonna like it or not like it. But I'm sitting there in my head like, what? Why? It's not like, is it the wrong shade of blue? Does it need to be darker? Does it need to be sky blue? Do we need to make the red pink? I don't understand what's going on anymore, people. It's Superman's suit. It's not that perplexed. It doesn't need to be anything special. Now, I will say, I guess I've seen comparisons to like, I know, don't come for me when I say this, but Zack Snyder's Superman suit with the texture. Like, okay, I would say that was a good attention to detail, that they put some really cool patterns, like texture to the suit. Like, if that's the issues with the texture, cool. I mean, I've seen people show images and say, oh, it looks like a basketball skin. You know what I mean? I'm like, I get it, but it's not like, as long as the colors are there as long as the cape is there, panties or no panties, it's not that serious. It's Superman. He's not that perplexed of a character as far as his design. He's a, sorry to say, but he's a basic bitch.
How dare you?
Yeah.
His
But again,
costume is
like that does build on what I was saying. Like you bring up like Zack Snyder's suit. Again, the Henry Cavill's Superman suit is a suit of armor. Like it's Superman as the knight in shining armor. Whereas this Superman, David Cornsett's Superman, as I said, is a working man. He is Superman, the working man. So again, it's a nice contrast, and I appreciate the contrast.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Whoa, that's cool. You
Nice.
Spider-Man right there, Axel. Nice. I was wondering what you were drawing right now. Nice. Doing some digital art right there. That's pretty sweet.
Do you take requests, Axel?
Yeah.
If you want to draw me a Supergirl, I would love it.
Often, but
I mean, I think you could probably guess what she wants you to draw.
Yeah, if you draw me a Supergirl, I'd be into it.
But which uniform?
Definitely not the new 52 uniform. Just give me a basic red skirt.
Oh, that one. Yeah, no.
All about
what about Woman of Tomorrow Supergirl?
Okay. Well, before you ask the next person, I do have to dip. I kind of wanted to stay hide everybody, and you know what? I sent Dave a message. I said, you know, it took me a really long time to realize that was Scott, because I like Scott because he's not on cam. He's usually on cam, and I'm like, is that Scott, or is this a new Scott?
Yeah.
Oh, it's Scott Plastic.
Yes, it's our
This is an old picture of Scott from about 3 years ago.
Yeah,
so that's Callum. We're sharing a moment of what the hell are they talking about, Dad?
Yeah. When Callum used to make his cameos on the Vodka stream.
I recall. I remember.
Yeah.
But no, thanks for having me. You guys enjoy the rest of the stream.
Thanks for showing up.
Have a good night.
Of course. Bye.
Bye.
Now you talk, RJ. Now you talk.
I was
I know. I was like, I wanted you guys to go back and forth a little bit more.
Yeah, he got scared. It's okay. RJ's scared of me.
I'm
just kidding. I love you, RJ. All right, bye, guys.
Bye.
But speaking of RJ, I was gonna go to you next when it comes to your thoughts on the Superman suit reveal.
So I'm kind of like right in the middle. I don't love it. I don't hate it. You know, I don't think it's such a disaster. It means the movie's going to be dead on arrival, but I don't think it's like the greatest thing ever either. Positives, I like the hair curl. I really like the collar. I like the symbol. I like the boots. Really do not like the lines though. The lines is something that I've been having an issue with a lot of these recent superhero costume designs. It's something that like everyone's seen the meme about like overcomplicated MCU suit designs. It's like very like militaristic. It seems like the same kind of material, the same kind of like line design. I don't dig that. Not so yeah, when that's like both positive and negative with that. The picture itself, I kind of have warmed up to it a little bit. I like the composition, what it's trying to go for. It's trying to look like a little bit like a comic book cover, kind of, or like a magazine cover in a way.
Yeah.
And it's trying to tell a story about this Superman to give you an idea of like his state of mind, perhaps, and maybe like what's going on underneath the surface a little bit. You know, it's like him putting on the boots, him getting ready to go out and fight, that kind of thing. So I appreciate the attempt. I don't know if I would have done the suit reveal this way, though, mostly because, one, the position he's sitting in, you don't get a clear look at everything. Plus, two, the top half of the suit is battle damaged, which I think is cool for, like, telling the story of this picture, what the picture's trying to say. But do you want to show off a damaged suit when it's the first reveal? But then again, I think they were trying to do something very different from what...
I actually like that. I like the fact that it's damaged.
Yeah. And like I said, I appreciate it. I'm just wondering if that was like the best route to go, right? Because like I said, I see both perspectives where they're trying to do their own unique thing with like the presentation of the picture itself. It's trying to be different from what came before. I'm just wondering if they had presented it a little bit differently, would it have gone better? Personally, I feel like if they would have done a video similar to what Matt Reeves and Todd Phillips did with Joker and Batman, it might have been a little bit better received. But I mean, the suit itself, it's fine. Like I said, I can see why some people are mixed about it, if that makes sense. So
yeah, I was kind of wondering. I was even thinking about that too. It's like they could, and I'm kind of wondering like if maybe they might. I mean, just to do a video reveal and have Rachel Brosnahan as Lois also part of it, where maybe if they did some filming already on top of like Daily Planet or something like that, where you could even have like a thing where she's just like, standing there and then you hear like a noise. They don't even have to do visual effects or anything like that. Where you hear like, a noise of Superman landing or something like that. And then all of a sudden she just looks behind her and then it's just, I don't know. I in my brain, I was like, man, wouldn't it be great if she's like standing up there, wind's blowing, her hair's going, and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden you hear the noise, and then he lands, and then she turns around. You see a shadow, because sun, and then all of a sudden he just steps in it.
In that what I thought they would have done is you see him as Clark Kent, and then he pulls the shirt apart, and then you see the suit.
That would have been cool too. Yeah,
like that would have been like very simplistic video presentation,
Because Dave, what you're describing sounds like what a teaser trailer would be.
Yeah, true. I know. I'm too like I got a little too.
But hey, you wanted to put Rachel in it, and I'm for that.
I know that would have been the main thing. It's like just her like with her hair.
I don't need to see the Superman suit. I just want to see Rachel.
I just want to see her. I know. See, that's the thing. See, Scott, we're on the same page because I want her incorporated because I want to see her.
I wonder if this reveal would have gone over a little better if it would have been like a dual reveal of like him and Lois.
I think eventually we're gonna
how
get
they
that,
revealed Dean Cain's suit. They did it like as a dual thing with him and.
Actually, the promo image for that actually wasn't even the suit. It was just like it was basically Terry Hatcher wearing just a cape and pretty much nothing else.
Oh yeah, that's right. She had like her shoulders exposed. Yeah.
And they had like Superman tattoos. Oh, that was a classic.
That's right. Yeah, they sexied them up big time. Yeah.
Well, it was about the romance of the show.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So they had like Dean Cain with like the tattoo on his arm. So he's like flexing his arm and it's like he's looking good. And then, they had her wrapped. I totally forgot about that. Yeah.
Because let's not lie. Because I'm not going to lie. Back in the day, I watched Lois and Clark with Terry Hatcher. And let's be completely honest at this point.
I mean, let's face it. I mean, I know people don't like Dean Cain now, but you know what? Back in, in the 90s,
that show
they were sexy.
Season,
both of them were sexy bitches.
And that first season when the original show creator was still running, because she left after season 1, but that first season was chef's kiss. John Shea as Lex Luthor.
He was a great Luthor.
He was a great Lex Luthor.
Yeah. 100%. Taladia Plays. Let me get your am I saying your name right? I always feel like
it's Taladia Plays.
Taladia Plays. Okay, there you go. All right. Thank you for clarifying that because I always see in the chat I think I'm saying your name.
It's all right. Everyone gets my name wrong. So
Taladia Plays. Okay. Well, let's get what's your reaction when it comes to this Superman suit reveal?
So obviously I like the collar. I like the fact that the boots and the long cape. The nitpicks obviously is the lines, the knee pads, and the fact that the underwears. I understand that he's taken inspirations from Kingdom Come and mixed it with the New 52, but like it doesn't go well. If you're a new 52 fan, you would understand like Superman had no trunks there, and it worked well for that. With the trunks, and the collar and everything, it just doesn't look right. But I'm prepared to give it a chance if James Gunn does a proper like a motion 30-second clip like how Matt Reeves did with the Batman when he revealed that suit. I think that would be far better as a reveal than just an image, like in my opinion, because I think that way people can get to see it in motion, and instead of it saying, oh, it's baggy and all of this stuff, and because I'm seeing it on both spectrum, whether you're a Snyder fan or James Gunn fan, I'm seeing it on both sides where people aren't exactly happy about the image.
True that. And even though I already know the answer, Axel, what's your reaction to the suit? Even though I've seen,
Well, I appreciate him going for like the new 52 suit. The new 52 suit, and it's underwhelming. And look, I'm trying not to be biased here, but it's just, I don't know, it just wasn't really for me, to be honest. But like, I don't know if it's for you, then sure. But like, I mean, yeah, I mean that's good. But like, I don't know. It just and people are right. It kind of does look like an MCU suit with those over designed doo ass lines. Like, we don't need that. Like, it's just, I don't know.
Well, to be fair, the Marvel Cinematic Universe costume department did design the suit. So
Yep, they did.
There is that.
But mind you, this film is like less than $500 million in budget, right? In terms of,
well, yeah, that's the thing. Is like one of the things I keep emphasizing is like, yeah, they're going to use the resources that they can use, and they are using Marvel Studios resources, and I get that they're doing that because it's like, all right, you know, they have to do that, and I get it, but it's like, yeah, we're gonna get some Marvelized kind of stuff. I mean, the thing that we were kind of fearing, but yeah, I mean, the initial costume designer also did, I think, Peacemaker, right? She did Peacemaker. I think somebody was telling me about that.
And the Penguin, I think, too.
And the Penguin. But see, that's the thing. It's like, but at the same time, what I was like reminding people is like, yeah, but all these costumes will be coming out of Atlanta from Marvel Studios. And I mean, that's just the way it is. And yeah, I mean, you know, that's just, there's going to be cutting costs of stuff, you know, and everything. So
yeah, no, that's what's off too. It's like I was expecting like more of like a Peacemaker, the Suicide Squad looking costume versus like kind of that. Like you see pieces of that kind of, but it's more like an MCU suit, which I think might have thrown some people off a little bit too. Because if you look at the costumes like that show and that movie, they're very, how do I put this? Like the material is very like solid. You're not seeing like a lot of like overly designed lines and like that kind of trick, you know. Or maybe I'm just overthinking it. I don't know, but that's what I was curious about.
The point, but the movie fans overthinking things, that would never happen.
Never. What are you talking about?
How dare you?
Never in a million years.
But the fact of the matter is that it was like people kept talking about it pretty much this whole week. I mean, you kind of just go like, is this what they wanted? Or I don't know. It's like one of those things where I'm going, you know, because I said there's like two things. There's like where they were like, hey, show it like this because this is not your traditional reveal of a suit. And people are going to complain about it, and we're going to lean into it. Or did James Gunn just go like, yeah, we don't want to do a traditional, so let's do it like this, and he just, you know, went over the line. He overcorrected. Like,
well, Dave, that's an interesting thing. One day, I would love a debrief. I would like a little Monday morning quarterbacking where they go, this is like, explain it to me. Like, like I objectively just want to sit back and go, what was your thought process here? You know, because I'm curious, because like I said, I'm whelmed by the image, and I have issues with the image itself, not the costume, but the presentation. Because when you mentioned the idea of like what Matt Reeves did with the camera test, and I remember the night sitting, watching that camera test of Pattinson's suit with the Michael Giacchino theme already there, and I'm just going, and you're right, when we saw the movie we went, dude, they had the flavor, like they knew what movie they were making from that camera test.
And according to James Gunn, they already have like the composer's composing score. He's already mentioned that. So I'm like,
yeah, they're using some of Murphy's score on set, from what I understand.
Yeah, so it's like, all right, dude, you got to do, because I remember, just like you, Scott, I just started a new job, and I was out and about fielding and stuff like that. I remember being in the back seat. You know, all of us were like, you know, we're driving back to the office, and I'm just scrolling through my phone. I'm like, oh shit. And then I see it, but I didn't have it up. I just saw the video. I'm like, oh, there's the suit. And I was just like, I remember
driving.
of course, I'm not going to be like, guys, check it out, because they're probably like, who the fuck's this nerd? Anyways, but it's like, so I remember just like, okay, we got back to the office, and then I was like, you check in, do all your stuff, and then I was driving home, and I'm like trying to get home. I'm like, I gotta make a video because it was on a weekday, that they released it, and I'm like, fuck. And I'm like, okay, so, well, I mean, obviously this was on a weekday too. It was on a Monday, but yeah, it was just like the fact that it's like, okay, do something like that too, and I hope that he does. Like just give us, and maybe they will before that we start seeing something in public, because that is coming. I mean, there was people there. I remember talking to people that maybe that there was going to be something that was going to be showing up yesterday or this weekend, but apparently that didn't happen.
Well, if you live in the Southeast, like Rebecca and I, we've had some pretty crappy weather. So
crappy. It's been amazing. There's been an Aurora Borealis stuff going on.
Oh no!
Yeah, you guys have been getting that stuff. That's
damn
you.
It's been crazy.
It's crazy that you're getting that, because it's like, I would think that even California would get that, because it's like, I guess it's just kind of how the Earth is tilted right now. And maybe that's why you're getting it, because I'm like, damn it. I was like thinking maybe I could get some of that too, but I didn't get shit.
But I was specifically referring to the thunderstorms and flash flood warnings.
We had tornado watches and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't want that.
So that probably threw some wrenches into any sort of outdoor filming plans in Atlanta they might have had.
Okay.
Probably.
So I'll give you a little bit of credit for that. But there is a part of me, kind of like Rebecca said earlier, that just goes, I'm 42. How many suit reveals have I gone through? How many comic book movies have I seen? It was kind of interesting listening to Kevin Smith was on Katie Sackhoff's podcast last week, and even Kevin Smith, without using the word, basically said, yeah, I'm like 53 and I'm kind of having some superhero fatigue. And this is Kevin Smith saying that.
That's a shock.
Wow.
Yeah, honestly though, and I can really feel for that, because look, it's not so much that I'm tired of superhero movies in and of themselves, but when you go through, I think a big part of that, to me anyway, is the reboots. I wonder how much of that superhero fatigue is on the DC side, because we've had, like, how many Supermans have we had so far in a row? I mean, we've been having Brandon Ruth, we had Henry, then we had Tyler, then we had Tyler again, then we had Henry again, then we had Tyler again. Now we've got this guy. So we're like, okay.
Yeah, it's kind of like an interesting thing when it comes to all this. But I mean, but we,
I'd see the day that Kevin Smith has.
Kevin Smith.
No, you guys, it's a great. And if you've not, she recently rebranded. It's now called the Sackhoff Show. It's not called blah 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 anymore. But
that's a much better title. The Sackhoff Show.
Well, she talks about that too. She's gone to audio only. The only video she's been releasing has been like ones that she kind of recorded during the strike. But like literally, the last 3 weeks have been Ming-Na Wen, Kevin Smith, and this week was Trisha Helfer. So
nice.
So go check it out. But yeah, she actually interviewed Kevin Smith in his home, and it's
she actually went to his home, or they?
Yes, because once she decided, because that was her point, is now that she's gone audio only, because she moved to Oregon with her husband and her daughter. Her daughter has cancer, so she basically went. Going to LA to use the studio to film is not conducive to her lifestyle right now. So basically now she has all of her audio equipment in literally in a backpack. And for the interview, she literally is now just going to the homes of the people she's interviewing, setting up and talking to them. And that's going to be the podcast moving forward. So the Kevin Smith interview from last week was the first time of that format of, here I am with my backpack and my audio equipment, and I'm walking into your house going, Can I talk to you for an hour and a half? Great.
Oh, good for her. Good for her. That's nice. Yeah. And we got William joining right now. Too.
What's up? Hey. I got a couple of minutes before I jump on ours. So that's why I was coming in and out. I didn't know if I really wanted to step all the way in. But hey, comic book movie fatigue, I don't even think is a thing. I think it's if these movies were good. Well, if these movies were good, we wouldn't be having these discussions. If we were talking about A-listers instead of the mid-listers, we wouldn't be having this discussion.
I don't even think it's the movies, William. I think the biggest issue is the television stuff. I feel like it's like the TV shows and the injection of streaming that really started messing things up, because I know people in my own life are like, I can't even keep up with the MCU anymore. There's too many TV shows.
But if they were good, half of them are garbage, though. If they were good, we wouldn't be having. When something is good, you never hear about anybody saying, "Oh, that's too much of a good thing." I can't have any more of those Godfathers or those Civil Wars. You don't have that discussion. You only have the discussion when the product wanes. It's not a fatigue thing. It's a quality thing.
Yeah, that does connect with what I was saying about the reboots. I mean, like, why aren't you?
Reboots.
When you like the version that's being lost when you reboot, it's like, hey, maybe stick to something for once.
Well, that's a DC thing for the most part. And I would say, like I said, when reboot, like when stupid and lazy fuck reboot is a love child. That's if I ever ran DC or Warner Bros., the best way to get fired or not get promoted is to come into my office and say, I got a brand new idea to reset everything. All right, good. I'm going to reset your paycheck to someone else. So, but that's a DC thing, and they don't learn. They don't learn. I can't think of a company that has killed their own revenue stream as much as Warner Brothers and DC by doing that, especially with comic books. Continuity is cash. Once you break the continuity, you break the cash. You stop your money flow. And I don't understand why that's a novel thing with these guys to figure that out after 36 years of doing it. The initial mistake was Crisis. Not talking about the quality of Crisis. The initial mistake was Crisis. And every 6 to 7 years, they've continued to repeat that mistake up to and including Doomsday Clock, where he was about to fuck over the DCU again and set them back another 5 or 6 years with Dr. Manhattan shitting on the entire universe. So at some point, they got to figure it out that this doesn't work on both cinematically and paper.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot like what I said. Like about this is like the big reason why people hated New 52 when it first came out, is because we love post-Crisis. And look, and I get it. Like, if you want, why not just do what Marvel is doing and set up the Ultimate Universe as a separate universe, but keep the classic line as we want it? But they're like, no, we can't do that because Marvel's doing it. We got to do our own thing.
But at least
their way works.
Now they're doing an absolute comic, which is a separate universe to the main line. Scott,
bringing it back to 1986.
It's basically Ultimate DC. I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of indifferent to the idea. I mean, for me, I was just getting into college and the New 52 was just starting. I had absolutely no idea where to start with comic books, and it felt like a nice entry point for me personally. I mean, I bounced off after a few years for a couple different reasons. Obviously, like fundage and, continuity, because everything just started to mesh together and not make sense. It was just, a couple different reasons why. I don't think rebooting is necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. It's just part of the machine now. It is what it is.
If it's used properly, but it should not be used very often.
Well,
it should be like a surgery type of thing. You don't go into surgery every week,
Yeah. But if I may,
William,
like
check
you
your
said,
mic. Your mic's kind of hot, like loud.
Yeah, it's like
loud.
It's a bit
blowing out. So check your mic. Check your mic.
I think I've lost my hearing.
And speaking of William, we got your co-host, Mr. Brad, right here.
Hello.
The Stargazer, who is joining.
Hashtag blame Brad.
Yeah.
Well, after 9th, they're finally thanking Brad because I had to fight for like 3 months.
Oh, stop it.
Give the raid to. No, because I had to suffer through a lot of scary movie Meet the Spartans to get to tonight. So tonight was a picture back for me.
Hey, it's all for cause though.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, it means justified.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to mention
we cleared $15,000, but I had to
15.5.
Hey, that's a great
bad
movies to get to it.
Also, by the way, I'm gonna raise my glass. We lost an icon.
Roger Corman.
Yeah. Roger Corman. He passed away.
No shit.
Wow. Yeah. It's just been announced He was 98 years old, so he lived a long.
He had a good run. I can't. He didn't tragically go. I mean, I hope I can get to that 98. You know,
I think we all wonder if, like, you know, when it comes to that. But yeah, Roger Corman. I mean, you've heard the name. I remember it was like, I think it was on Showtime. There was like a series of like these R-rated like horror like 30-minute long like series that was on Showtime called Roger Corman Presents. And I used to watch those all the time. And then, of course, I've watched many Roger Corman movies over the years. So, yeah, may he rest in peace. And, you know, that's an icon right there, Roger Corman. So, lived a long and full life and gave us a lot of entertainment.
I actually discovered him. I think probably my first, my entry point to the work of Roger Corman as a kid was, anybody familiar with the Carnosaur franchise?
No. Yes.
Those were kind of coming out. Those were kind of
I remember those.
It was like early 90s. Those are basically kind of riding the coattails of Jurassic Park. The second one in particular is basically just a straight. It's basically, I mean, literally is aliens with dinosaurs. The second one is literally beat for beat aliens with dinosaurs.
Yeah, he was very B-roll. He was very B-roll. You know, so.
No, he was Ed Wood with a little bit with a budget. He was Ed Wood with more money.
There you go. That's
a bit of more money, but more money. You know what? To honor Roger Corman, I really hope there's been a petition for this. The YouTuber did a video where they talked to the cast. I would like to see, it'll never happen, but I would like to see them give some kind of modern re-release to his produced Fantastic Four movie.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I know it's not going to happen. I know it's not going to happen. I'm just saying.
There should be no desire for that. But hey, real quick, Junkie, because you were talking about this, or somebody posted about this, that fan film when it comes to the Tolkien stuff.
Oh, yeah. The Golem.
Yeah. What was the controversy? I didn't see a controversy.
The controversy was that that Warner Bros. Announced that they're going to do that story, Hunt for Gollum, and then there was a fan film apparently that's been on YouTube for like over a decade, like 12 years, 13 years, whatever the hell it is. And so after that was announced, that the film got copyrighted and got taken down. So everybody was like, what the fuck? But then like within like a couple of hours, they put it back up. It got resolved. And then Warner Brothers was like, it was a mistake. And to be honest,
nobody believed that.
But it's like one of those things where I kind of go like, was it a mistake on Warner Brothers or on YouTube? Because let's face it, especially something when it comes to me.
Yeah.
When I had a little mistake happen to my channel, sometimes when it comes to the whole copyright stuff, it's a weird thing where like, all right, I mean, I don't know. It's such a weird, everything is weird because you don't know exactly. It's like, was it a mistake on the platform or was it a mistake on the owner of the IP, you know?
Okay. So I'm not in the business of, you should know this, of defending Warner Brothers.
Yeah, of course not. No,
but Here, I would side with them. Who owns the IP?
Yeah,
it's their IP. However long this was on, it existed at the pleasure of the IP owner. You know, if they wanted to, they could have shut it down any time.
To me, it sounds like a YouTube thing. Sounds like a YouTube thing because I think like because what do they? You know, because their system is automated. Because I mean, like I said, I witnessed this whole thing. I'm like, why did my shit get taken down? And then it was like a whole thing, and then I had to submit an appeal twice and finally got it back because they were like, oh yeah, and then when they were like, well, Team YouTube said, oh yeah, it's saying that the claim is this, and I'm like, I didn't do that shit. I think they're automated system and they're probably utilizing some kind of AI and whatever the hell they're doing. And I think after it was announced that with the same exact title, Hunt for Gollum, that got put into their system, and then their system was like, oh, now we got to find that, and they found, that short film that has like millions of views, and they went, oop, nope, we got to remove that now, and it was a mistake. And so like I know like people like want to give the oh yeah, really, Warner Brothers, and I get that they earned that that, but I think it was a YouTube thing, not a Warner Brothers thing.
Well, they could also they could say that, but their copyright lawyers could have said, we decided on this topic. We do a search and find something else. They could have shut it down, mistake or no mistake. It's like the Star Trek thing. Listen, you either own your copyrights and control them, or you don't. You can't have a Wild West mentality when it comes to your copyrights. You really, I'm surprised more studios don't clamp down on that, because otherwise, why are you paying the money? Why are you coveting these IPs? It can't be, Tombstone, New Mexico. You either own the copyrights or you don't. I'm not a big fan of fan films. Because like I said, the whole Star Trek thing kind of ruined it for me.
Looked up like that.
Well, hey, listen, once again, you either own the copyright or you don't. And at any point in time, you could exhibit control over that copyright, and you're not the bad guy. You're the owner of the copyright. That's it. It's an open and shut court and case.
Mm-hmm. Well, but it is. Go ahead, Thadia.
Well, no, I was just going to say. Well, yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to say, the thing is with Warner Brothers, they like to copyright claim anything, whether it's movies, reaction videos, whether it's video games. No matter what it is, they like to copyright claim things or like to strike things down. And I've learned that on my channel specifically because I used reaction videos for Black Adam, and I got copyright claim for that. And then even for the Penguin, instantly copyright claimed. And I'm like, okay, I can't, do reactions, which kind of sucks. But,
that's a blind copyright. That's different though than somebody actually making a content.
Yeah.
Like reviews and stuff, that's different because I have to go directly through them in order to get permission to use certain things. And there's an exclusion list on certain things that we can't even have on our channel because they own the copyright.
Well, we
you have to get permission.
Well, that kind of, I mean, again, the algorithm can get really freaky with YouTube because we had like that happened when the Rebel Moon Netflix to Dumb event happened. We had that we were playing the event. We were covering it that night, like midstream. We got a strike taking that down. I mean, and it wasn't it wasn't Netflix really. I think when you said it wasn't them giving us a strike. It was just
because we got permission we got instructed by Netflix to show what we showed, and I was able to show them that, and so we eventually got it back up. But what you guys are talking about is different than actually. That's a misunderstanding, and creating some shit that belongs to someone else.
Yeah,
that's different. That's not defensible. If they want to take you down, there's no court case. There's no recourse for you. Yeah. You say the judge is going to be like, who owns the copyright? Well, Your Honor, that guy. Well, get out of my courtroom. It's that easy.
I always worried about that too. Like, I mean, I remember like early on, can they take me down because I'm wearing a Batman shirt? Like I'm literally wearing the logo, and it's like I'm selling myself with a Batman T-shirt. And I was always wondering, like, is that?
No, if you sell a narrative or a story, see, there's explicit.
Yeah.
So if you were doing,
you hear that?
Batman
Gate. Sorry.
Yeah, Film Junkie versus Batman or something like that, and you're actually using their characters to tell your story.
No, then you're Batman. How about that?
What they did. What I assume again that was probably YouTube's stupid AI algorithms. But what they did to our friend Chris Wong Swenson was just disgraceful.
What did they do? What happened?
I remember they kept like ripping off, like you kept deleting like his videos and all that till finally he's like, I'm done with the Warner Brothers stuff.
See, with him, that's different. That's a misunderstanding and a mistake. That is the algorithm. Now, if he did his own Power Rangers story, that's different. See, what you guys are discussing are two different things.
I get it. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So the fan film is going to be a no-go. Look at Axanar. Google Axanar and see why that's the case. And like I
said, they had one like that too. Right after The Dark Knight Rises came out, there was a fan film that was showing. That was showing Blake like continuing as it didn't show him in costume, but he was very much meant to be a continuation. Where showing he was essentially Nightwing at that point, and that was up for like 4 days, and they got a cease and desist. So
rightfully so, which is what should happen. Okay, Dave, I put it in. Everybody looks at it as the big bad monster, right? But Dave, if you created your story and it's Dave Goes to Vegas and you made your money on it, and you copyrighted it, you did the work for it, and I come do some shit derived from yours, You should step on my throat. As soon as you see it happening, I'm stealing from you.
Whoa. Yeah, I'm not gonna step on your throat because we all saw it. Anyway, but yeah, I know. It's like, it's an interesting thing when it comes to all that because, yeah, I mean, I've always wondered when it comes to like certain IPs and like, but at the same time, I can appreciate fan films because there's great fan films out there where it's like, hey, this is my idea for this certain character. And even recently, because it was Alien Day, like they had the Batman Dead End. People were talking about that again, and I'm like, God damn, that was one of the best fan films I've ever seen. Like when it comes to Batman, I mean, like that film, like that I remember seeing that before the social media was like a big thing. I remember having a copy of that and seeing copies of that at cons and stuff like that, or at any kind of conventions or whatever. And there was even like one that had to do with Robin. I forgot what it was called. It's called Grayson. It's called Grayson.
Oh, I remember that one. That's a really good one.
That was a good one too. Or it was just like
recent Robin one as well. Yeah, I don't know.
But it was just like I remember seeing that stuff like back then before social media was actually a thing, and it was pretty cool. But at the same time, it's like I understand. It's like, well, it's like, yeah, if you're using the symbols, you're using the character names, you're using all this stuff. It's like, yeah, there's an argument there where it's like, yeah, if I take down your, what you did because you didn't have permission, it's like, well, yeah, you can't kind of argue with that because it's like, yeah, it's like you did. This is their creation. You used it. I mean, it's such a fucking weird thing because I love when fans or when people can be creative and do something cool with it. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, but they don't own it. It's like, yeah, it's such a, I don't know.
The fun thing about Grayson is like the production value of that was really well done for the time it was made.
So good.
It was really good.
That was like 06 or something when that was made. Wasn't
08, I think.
Yeah, it was 08. I think Batman Dead End was like 2 years before that or whatever.
Yeah, Batman Dead End was like mid 2000s because I remember seeing.
Yeah, it was like 2004 or 5 or something like that. Yeah,
and there has
that shot of him when he lands in like the puddle, and then you see that overhead shot, and they literally put a bigger cape on him, so to make it look so cool. So it was like he just like rises up in the rain, and you see the cape just like in the fucking puddle, and he just that shot is like a fucking chef's kiss when it comes to a Batman shot.
General though about them returning to Lord of the Rings and Peter Jackson, Andy Serkis with the Gollum movie.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just in general, how are we feeling about that?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not one of those kind of like I'm Lord of the Rings fine. I watch the movies. Hey, they're fine, but I'm not. That's not my speed. I don't like the whole medieval fantasy stuff. That's never been my bag, so it's not my realm. But when I saw that they were involved, I went, "That's kind of cool." I'm like, "All right, you're giving it back to the guys who did good shit with it." So I'm like, "Good, cool, sweet."
And it's funny that there were people complaining about it. It's like, oh, you're just doing another prequel to it, seriously? And I'm like, guys, what? And I'm just like, the people who are complaining, I got to ask, when was the last time you people have actually read Fellowship of the Ring? Because the story that they're doing is a story that Gandalf describes happening in like when they're at the Council of Elrond, where like he talks about like it like in between his visits to Frodo, like, and if we're looking at the continuity of the movie, it would be just before he goes to Minas Tirith and researches the Ring of Power. The story is that after he looks at he thinks about the ring, and Bilbo drops off the ring and so on. He thinks about it and he goes off. He and Legolas basically go out looking for Gollum to find his story, because obviously Bilbo got the ring for Gollum. They're going to question him. What happened? Where did you get this ring? But the problem is, there's some other folks who are on the hunt for Gollum, and it's the orcs from Mordor. And that's where he ends up captured and tortured, goes Shire Baggins, and so on.
I don't care. I just don't care. I've got no interest whatsoever.
I mean, it's one of those
I was about to say fan films have also been used as like launching pads for like larger, like some good examples. They both Mortal Kombat Rebirth and Street Fighter Legacy. Those are a couple of fan shorts that and those launched web series. Those two, because that went to Mortal Kombat Legacy and then a Street Fighter Assassin's Fist. And actually, it's interesting, mentioning all this with at what point does the studio's ownership of the IP override the whatever the fan film is trying to do, because this
immediately.
The instance I'm thinking of here, and this isn't like fan films per se, but we've seen a lot of fan art and a lot of fan shorts and things like that. And like one gentleman in particular on Instagram, a lot of done with the Nightmare, with Zack Snyder's Justice League, with the Nightmare future and that whole story. Which we have the general outline of that. Those obviously those are movies that aren't made, but I have with everything you said, William, and everything that's kind of been laid out tonight, I'm kind of wondering, at what point now maybe the circumstances surrounding this particular set of movies maybe also complicates it, but does the studio have any copyright claim on that?
The studio has copyright claim on all their intellectual IP. Period. It exists at the pleasure of the copyright holder. Now, obviously, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of things out there, but there's also something called range of scope as far as what you pay your lawyers to go after and shut down. So, if you're doing some 2-cent thing that doesn't have any range or scope or anything, they can shut that down. But do they want to exhaust the resources to do that? Usually what ends up happening is once something reaches a certain level of influence or level of confusion or misperceptions, that's generally when a copyright law will come in, or if it trips something up like that. But at any time, they can step in and shut it down. And it's not necessarily, they're not the assholes. It's, just because some things have gone on for years without somebody stepping in, congratulations, you went on for years without someone stepping in. But at any time they can. I've had to sue somebody over something like this, using our intellectual property, right, and things like that.
Well, I mean, like, even with my channel, like, it's kind of funny. After I got the channel back and YouTube's automated system started going like, you can't monetize this video or this stream or this video, I'm like, I can't. All of a sudden they were like, you can't monetize your reaction to Blade Runner 2049. And I was like, oh, I can't do that now after this many years. Well, shit. It's like one of those things. It was such a weird thing. Like when I got the channel fully back, all of a sudden I was getting emails going, you can't monetize this, and it was like reaction videos and streams from 3 to 4 years ago, and I'm like, all right.
See, we got shut down. I got shut down for those same movies, but you just send an email and that gets fixed.
Yeah, you can appeal it because there's that stuff. But I didn't even take the time because I'm like, who gives a shit? Who's watching even that now?
Did you even get like a full explanation for why the channel got taken down? Or was it just
Nope,
the algorithm?
It was a mistake. It was totally a mistake because like when they got when I asked it, they said that I violated community guidelines, and I was like, how is that even possible? And
conjecture,
then
right?
Was like, and then they did that what was that
word?
Circumvention.
Like I went around the system, and I'm like, no, I did not. And so that when I send my second appeal, I even said that I was like, yeah, I put that, and then later that day they finally went, no, yeah, you're right, we made a mistake. And it was like, oh shit, like your automated system is flawed. For sure.
I mean, it's been for many years. The running gag with YouTube is when they send you the message, it's like your YouTube content you violate the community guidelines in this way, and then it's completely blank.
Yeah.
I've actually gotten. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Could I mention one thing about fan films? I think I totally understand the copyright claims. They have every right to do so. But one company that I thought did a really good job of interacting with fan films, and I don't give them a lot of credit these days, but Lucasfilm. Back in the day when there were no new Star Wars movies before the prequels, fans were making fan films. Yep. And Lucasfilm actually had a contest to reward fans who were making great fan films. And I think Lucasfilm actually use some of those talented people to do other things. And even now Lucasfilm has a thing set up with cosplayers where they have a strict guidelines on if you're going to be Chewbacca, if you're going to cosplay Chewbacca at Dragon Con, you have to meet these strict guidelines. They have to be screen accurate. And so they will actually use cosplayers to be in commercials. They'll be like, hey, we need some droids. We need some Mandalorian folks. Can you send, they'll contact the 501st and they'll say, hey, can you send over some stormtroopers? Lucasfilm actually uses the fans in a way that contributes to the IP and actually contributes to what they're doing. And personally, I think that more companies need to interact with fans in that way, because it actually encourages creativity. You can tap into that talent pool. And I think it will also breed goodwill with fans. And I think a lot of the things that we're seeing now with Warner Brothers, with Marvel, with the Lord of the Rings, some of that is bad will that has been created between the companies and the fans. I know that a lot of the Warner Brothers stuff I haven't gone to see, mostly because of how Warner Brothers treated Zack Snyder and that whole situation. It just was a big turnoff. And I think, and the fact that they called Zack Snyder fans toxic in mainstream publications, and though that's the way they think about us. And I think if more companies actually try to build community with the fans in that way, I think they would build some goodwill. I think they would get people more excited about their franchises. And so to me, I think instead of, I get the copyright claims, I totally do, but I think that Lucasfilm contest, and I'm sad they don't do it anymore, because that actually was a great, fans kept Star Wars alive when there were no Star Wars movies.
Well, fans always keep everything alive. That's
so I think companies, these big companies, really need to build a relationship with fans. That it's something that they're missing, and that's why the box office is plummeting. That's why comics are plummeting. So I think they need to get back to building relationships with fans.
Well, and building on what you just said, that's what you mentioned. Like, that's how Lucasfilm used to encourage these fan films and give them awards and all that. That used to be Paramount's relationship with the Star Trek fan films and so on. But
so it got out of control. And that's the other side of that. Here's the thing. I agree with everything she says, but at some point, you reach a point where you have to control the perception of the IP that you own. You can have a symbiotic relationship with your fandom, but you have to get to that point where that relationship actually, Lucasfilm at one point was there. Warner Brothers, the company is not there yet. And right now, while at any point in time, it has to be up to the IP holder how they want to approach that. I'm not saying that they shouldn't, but it can become Axonar. It can become crazy to where the point now you literally have, like I said, Wild Wild West mentality as it becomes your IP, and while you're trying to dictate where that IP is going.
Yeah, and I think if you do it in a structured way, like a contest, you can keep it to where, like, you follow these rules, we'll allow you to make it, but if you go outside of that, we're going to come down on you.
Yeah, and that's what happened. Yeah,
I think a structured way like that would do all of those things. And I know it was mentioned about fan art. The problem with like coming after people about fan art is that these companies, through their social media and their websites, they will promote Fan Art Fridays. And so how do you justify coming down on somebody?
Embrace it. Embrace it.
The companies are promoting the fan art. So I don't know how you
I think the fan art is not, because when we talk to these guys, because like I said, we got to find out what we're able to do, or they'll shut us down. Fuck the middleman. We'll get a call from Burbank or something. They say, well, you're done with this. And that's what I don't want. So when it comes to fan art, they don't have as much problem, because we had a fan art contest where I think it was Kong versus Godzilla. They're for that from the people we deal with, but it's when the narrative, when you start telling your own story, when you start taking the established narrative or establishing narrative with an owned IP. When it comes to pictures, models, things like that, that can literally be promotional. But when you literally start taking narrative oblivities with something like that, you got to be careful. I mean, like I said, like you said, it's got to be structured. It's got to be controlled. And with Axonar, they ended up having to reach a settlement to where it ultimately had to follow Paramount and Viacom's exact explicit rules and change some of what they were doing. So,
yeah, well, I mean, listen, I mean, do you know? I mean, to your point, Rebecca, and because with how studios or like the medium, like kind of cultivate like fan art, things like that. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I have seen like articles or like news articles or things like that from a lot of different outlets that have used Liz Wonder in her cosplay as Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah,
where she is ostensibly Gal Gadot, and I mean that's partially. I mean the resemblance is so uncanny. I mean some of that I imagine is an honest mistake, but there's also,
do you remember the time they used her Supergirl in conjunction with something promotional for the Flash? Oh my god!
Well, that's the thing about Liz Wonder is she knows how to transform her face.
She is very good at makeup. That the
Yes.
key to her look is that she's a very good artist.
She recently did a Taylor Swift look, and I was like, I went, what the fuck? How does she look like Taylor Swift? Like she knows how to. She's Clayface. She's a Clayface.
Wow.
With makeup because she knows, and she. Okay, so when it comes to Liz, and this is what I love about her, is she knows how to do the makeup on point, and then she knows how to structure her face to make it look like the character that she's trying to do. And I'm just kind of going like, how the fuck are you doing this? Like
I've seen her
when, like, look it up. When her looking like Taylor Swift, I went, how the I was like,
oh my
what?
God.
Like what the hell? Like she did the makeup, and then she did like she just, structured her face to look like that. I'm like, you are Clayface. You are literally Clayface.
She's a professional, though, man.
I've seen her do Pattinson Batman.
Yeah,
I've
she's
seen
the
her
pop-up
do so many others. I mean, she could cosplay as the bagel from Everything Everywhere All at Once. No one would be the wiser.
Yeah.
Hey, Dave, I'm a bolt man because we're live on the network. Thanks for having me on for this couple minutes. Brad, take your time if you want to. But I'll see you guys later.
No, I'm gonna jump over with you, man. So we got to
get easy, man.
So, see you guys later.
To Brad's point, though, I think some of these companies need to embrace those influencers. Like you have these big fans who have a huge following. Liz Wonder has a huge following, and I know she's been to like red carpets and she does a lot of charity events and stuff like that. But that's what they should be doing. They should be incorporating the fans that are doing
millions of followers on TikTok. I mean, come on.
Has she ever? I forget. Has she ever done anything with Gal Gadot?
She was on the Wonder Woman 84 interview panel on DC Fandom.
That's right.
There's about that. Yeah.
I think that's it. But yeah.
But she just, oh man. I mean, like anytime she goes, oh, I'm gonna do a new look, and I'm like, oh, I can't even imagine how is she gonna pull this off, and she fucking does, and it's like, I'm like, okay, so I've met her in real. I met her at the Rebel Moon premiere. And it was just like cool to like, and she was dressed as Korra.
She looked like her.
And then just seeing her, I'm like, is that Sophia? Like, what the fuck? Like, what am I doing here? Am I hugging Sophia? No, it was her. And I'm like, because she did a good job. She cut her hair just like that. I mean, she was full on in the Korra outfit and everything. And then of course she took pictures with Zach because obviously Zach was like, look at this. It's like, I mean, and that's what I love about cosplayers, the cosplayers that really just dive into that. And that's what I mean, there's some that just kind of go like, hey, I'm just going to, I ordered these PJs online and then I'm going to do this and stick my butt out. And that's it. I'm like, nope, that's not it. That's not cosplay. Yeah. Okay. You're going to get fans because you're looking good in a skin tight thing. But there are cosplayers that do things where they full on make their costumes. Susie Creates. She's one of them. She, I've talked to her. She cosplayers that actually create their own costumes and really try to embody the character. I totally respect because they just take that extra effort. They spend weeks on creating the costumes. And then of course, when it comes to Liz, she just knows exactly what to do when it comes to the makeup. And then to just like, how do I make my eyes, should I squint my eyes? Should I do like this? What's the facial expression?
You guys know Gracie cosplay?
Yeah, Gracie cosplay, same thing with her. She does that stuff too. She was actually at the Rebel Moon premiere too. I remember she like messaged me like, you're here too? I'm like, yeah, where you at? And I couldn't find her. But yeah, same with her. It's like she'll do stuff like
She's insane. Like, and she also does like custom cakes, where like she actually like make a cake, and it's crazy.
Those cakes are delicious looking, and I just wanted to have the cakes. But also, but Grace has also been someone who it's like, she ended up as a variant cover for a Red Sonja comic book. Like it's
she's done some of those too, where it's like, whoa, like can you be cast as that? Because
aren't they making a Red Sonja movie?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
But to Rebecca's point earlier about working with the fans, I mean, you can also learn how to tap them as resources, because think about the kid who did the Lego Spider-Man sequence in in Across the Spider-Verse, because he just did something fun on YouTube, and Lord and Miller went, can you do a sequence for our movie? Or the fact that, there were some people who complained about the CGI Luke Skywalker in the season 2 finale of Mandalorian, and then some guy on the internet said, well, here, if you would do this, this, and this, you could really improve the look. And then they hired him to do Book of
Season
Boba
3.
Fett.
Yeah. Book of Boba Fett, yeah.
Book of Boba Fett. And I mean, leaps and bounds improvement from what you saw in the finale to what you saw in Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
But once again, that's a case where a company looks at what the fans are putting out there and goes, well, we want to snatch them up because we want that talent working for us.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yep.
Fans have thought about it way more than they ever will. Fans think about this stuff all the time, and people are experimenting with things because they want to be able to recreate it. Think about those guys who went out and shot the Indiana Jones movie, like shot for shot. They went out and like made it in their backyard. Fans think about that kind of stuff all the time, and those are the people that, and I think it actually makes your IP better, because then you have these really hardcore fans who are bringing their love and passion for the thing. And then that just elevates everything. So I personally think that companies are not doing enough to tap into what fans can offer.
The sad fact of the matter is we have like these corporate elites that are like in their offices. They got their scotch. They show up to work. They got their assistants. They got all the stuff, and they're sipping scotch at 11 a.m. And they're just like, they're making these decisions. These suits are making decisions when it's like, hey, you should not be making, like, the decisions should be looking at the people that are like making fan films and making.
Well, that's something I wanted to ask you, Dave, because you guys had a really interesting conversation on the vodka stream, and you put it to where you said you feel like the entertainment industry is just bursting in general. Like we're in collapse.
Yeah, I mean,
you still feel that way?
I still feel I feel that way, because to the point where like these suits are still making these decisions, and I mean, look what's happening. I mean, it is kind of funny, because like when I look at that Brad Pitt movie that's coming out about F1 racing or whatever the hell, that's going to be like one of the most expensive movies made, and it's not an existing IP. It's a new movie, and I'm like going, okay, this could be bad, but it also could be good, because it is Joseph Krasinski, right? That it is directing this movie.
I think yes, the guy who directed Maverick.
Exactly.
Yes.
So obviously, I already know 100% when we see this fucking trailer from the guy who brought you Top Gun Maverick. Oh, they're gonna fucking put plaster that.
Yeah, so it could be like a new dad movie.
Yeah, it's gonna be like the movie that you're gonna want to take your dad.
Well, that's why I thought the conversation you guys had was so interesting, because not to get into a whole spiel, because we'll be here all day if I had to explain it, but like the situation going on with Xbox right now, and them closing down a bunch of studios and them reorganizing their entire business. It's so funny how similar it is to the movie industry, because a lot of what you're seeing in the video game industry is a consequence of COVID, because these execs thought that COVID money, because everyone was gaming during the pandemic, was like going to carry over like 4 years later, and it's not, right? Yeah. And then
RJ
with streaming.
Well, and RJ, funny enough, tying it back to something that I talked about earlier, in that Katie Sackhoff interview with Kevin Smith, they had this exact same conversation because they were asking about post-strike. What you guys do? What's everyone doing? And their conversation was, nobody's working right now.
Yeah.
And what Kevin Smith was reflecting on was what he believes, and he said it's not great for the working people, but it's probably going to be good for the industry. Is that the market, for the lack of a better term, is self-correcting. We went through COVID. We went through this booming of streaming, and it created a bubble. And what happened was everyone was trying to make as much content as possible, which was great for all the people who wanted to work because everyone had a job, because people were rubber stamping productions left and right because we need shows, we need movies, we need content, we need to fill all this. And the problem was that you created so much content that people couldn't watch it all.
Yeah, they couldn't consume it. Yeah,
but they couldn't consume it. I hate using that term, but but that's what it became.
Too many options.
There were too many. It's like going to an all-you-can-eat buffet, and eventually you stop eating because you're done.
Yeah, and you didn't quite make it to the sushi bar. Yeah,
you did. And so what's happening now is that the strikes, both the actor strike and the writer strike, gave a pause. And so what's happening now is that they're fluxing through what was already rolling before the strikes, but nothing new is starting up now. Yeah. And you can look at it in a way of saying, well, now they're just punishing the writers and the actors for the strike, or you can look at it as them going, we need to be doing less.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
even like you mentioned, we've been talking about Star Wars a lot. I mean, we see this in Mandalorian season 4 seems to have been shelved, and instead of that, we get Mandalorian and Grogu the movie, and it's going to be on the screen, big screen,
with Sigourney Weaver apparently. And I'm like, okay.
But that's
which may or may not have Luke Skywalker again. Which, by the way, something I wanted to bring up is that, did any of you guys see that recent tweet that Mark Hamill made about how he says, like, hey, a few years from now, a little bit from now, this tweet's going to get very important when I say that right now I have just done my first day of shooting something.
So he probably already did some kind of mocap thing, maybe.
Possible.
That's probably what it is.
That is possible. Yeah, it is possible for him to do mocap.
Yeah, Scott, which is totally fine about that. No, go ahead, Rebecca. But I'm just saying, like, yeah, I can like that tweet. I remember seeing that. I'm like, yeah, he probably did some mocap stuff. Whatever. But Rebecca, what are you saying?
Oh, I was just gonna kind of go back to what Scott was talking about with Kevin Smith and Katie Sackhoff and how they were talking about how nobody's working. I think there is a decline in the film industry. I think they're taking a nosedive because they don't understand the audience. They don't understand what they're doing anymore. But what I think is a great opportunity is for independent filmmakers to create new things. I can go out and shoot a movie with my phone. I can go shoot a movie. I can shoot a movie in 4K on my iPhone 13 Pro Max. I don't even have the 15.
I'm going to shoot a movie after I get done with the stream.
I can
go. Isn't that what Zack Snyder did with that short film with that woman? I forget what it's called.
Snow Steam Art. I can go shoot a movie on my iPhone, and I have Premiere Pro. I can edit the thing. If somebody wanted to go into After Effects and create effects, you can do all of that. You can do what they do in the studios from your house. So my question to Kevin Smith and Katie Sackhoff in that conversation would be like, well, why aren't you going and making something? You could go and make something.
Well, look at Axel.
Yeah. You can make your own stuff.
Well, and that's exactly what Kevin Smith was talking about. Is he is in a position where he doesn't have to worry about financing. And like and that's the reason why he only works when he works, because he says, I only want to make what I want to make. Yes. And I make it when I want to make it. So that was addressed in that conversation. It's just that, but not every, it's just, it was more of a industry wide kind of conversation. But no, they addressed it because some people they can do that, but then still you're going to have to worry about financing, distribution, and
You
all.
can do that. You can do it through GoFundMe's. You can do it through Indiegogo. I know the guys who are making a Lost documentary through Indiegogo. You can go and do that stuff. There are things out there, and I just want to encourage people that
the future.
The studios are done. They're done. Yeah. They're not putting anything out. Their box office sucks. They're spending a lot of money on things that don't have any reward to it, no revenue stream. The future is in independent filmmaking from your house. And I just want to encourage people that if you have an idea for something, go do it. I'm talking to myself.
Amen, sister. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, look at Chris Stuckman. I think he did like crowdfunding.
Oh yeah.
He did crowdfunding for his recent horror film. It blew up. Because
he got like twice. He got like twice the amount that he wanted.
Right, and then what happened was that the trades wrote articles about it, and that got the attention of Mike Flanagan, who decided to come on as a producer recently. So
there you go.
And, dude, when I saw that, I was so happy. I was like, because I've been following Chris Stuckman. He's one of the inspirations for me starting my channel. I was like, because I just watch his reviews, and I'm like, I get you. Me and you we're this. Like, I get you, and to him to get to that point where he's making his own film, and then Flanagan coming in to be a producer.
I mean, dude, he got Keith David to be in that cast.
Dude,
sweet,
dude. Wow. That's a get right there. I don't care what anybody says. You get Keith David. That's a get, man.
He has one of the best voices in the world.
Fuck yeah, dude. Oh, man. I love Keith David, man. Anytime he shows up, I'm like, I love you, Keith David. Yeah. Whoa. What is going on? Is somebody, what the fuck? What is that? Somebody put on a fucking leaf blower? What's going on here? Are we good?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
That's me.
It happens.
Yeah, but no, that's what's going to be so interesting too, because clearly, the streaming bubble kind of burst, right? But you can't put the genie back in the bottle. So how do you keep streaming going when you're producing less content?
Oh, have no fear. Batman the Cape Crusader is here.
Good.
That was
Perfect.
a good segue, because I do want to talk about this, and I want to get everyone. I mean, obviously Scott and I have been always, like, oh, Jesus Christ. I mean, this is going to be part of DC Fanimated when this comes out. I mean, obviously we still have a lot of things to talk about when it comes to DC Fanimated, but we are going to be talking about this. And the fact that there's been talk about the Cape Crusader, because a lot of people are like, is this actually happening? Is it still going on? And then finally it was like, August 1st. Yay. We got a date. We got images. We got details. We got all kinds of things.
I have one nitpick though. Like the tiny one nitpick.
All right. I'm gonna put my cursor right over you being removed.
No.
Anyways, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I would not have done this as
Scott.
Scott just left.
Scott just left. Congratulations,
no.
RJ.
Yeah, no. I think
congratulations, RJ.
You accidentally clicked him.
I don't think that was on purpose. Yeah,
no, it's a good
Probably
nitpick.
Not.
Yeah, okay.
My only nitpick is that I wish they would have done a weekly release versus a binge release, because
I get that.
Based off what we're seeing, the success of X-Men 97, because that's just blown up, and that's really rejuvenated a lot of people's goodwill with Marvel.
Yes.
Like Cape Crusader, if they would have done a weekly to have like that weekly discussion, it could have benefited them a little bit. I get why.
I'm going to push back on that, because honestly, Marvel needs that. Amazon doesn't with Batman. Batman is a household name. Batman sells. You don't need to drag that conversation out for as long as you need to. And on top of that, it's Bruce Timm making the TV show. It's going to stick in conversation for quite some time, no matter how many episodes you drop at one single time.
Yeah, and
I
plus,
don't know for streaming though that it's about the conversation. It's about keeping the subscribers around. So if you drop episodes once a week, or have a part 1 and a part 2 like Netflix does a lot. That's an effort to keep you paying another month. So I think that's kind of the strategy behind that.
That's also in the motivations too.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think maybe a weekly. I mean, I don't know though. That's just me going off of the announcement. Maybe when I watch it, maybe it'll be like, okay, it's telling one big story. Maybe he doesn't need that, or maybe it's episodic. We don't know for sure yet, but. Everything else, though, I'm loving what I'm seeing. Art style wise, anime. Do we know who's voicing Batman, by the way?
We don't know. Okay. So that's what I was kind of like curious about, because we have this Entertainment Weekly article right here. It says Batman and Crusader first look, and we get everything. I don't know. It's kind of funny we get these two like in a video. Anyways, but we got this image right here. So yeah, that's why I was like, hey, look at those undies. We got the undies and right there,
and the gloves.
Of course, he's Golden Age Batman, right?
It's a Golden Age. Look at the gloves. They're not gauntlets.
I'm gonna laugh. He lets criminals die, if not outright kills them. I will laugh.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
I will laugh.
That would be comic accurate for Golden Age.
And then we got this. We got Commissioner Gordon right here. And okay, so what was interesting? I saw on my timeline. I thought and Scott's back.
Hey, Scott.
And somebody. I thought I saw on my timeline that Ernie Hudson is actually voicing this Commissioner Gordon. I don't know if that was actually true.
That can't be true, can it?
I know. See, that's the thing. Maybe they just thought it looks like Ernie Hudson.
It does look like Ernie Hudson.
It does look like. So maybe
it does look like him. Yeah.
That assumption. But I remember scrolling through. I'm like, really? Ernie Hudson is going to be. And I was like, I don't hate that at all. I'm like, fuck yeah, Ernie Hudson as Commissioner Gordon. Who knows? But. Yeah, I don't know, but that's the first look at Commissioner Gordon, maybe voiced by Ernie Hudson. I kind of hope that. And then of course we have Harley Quinn right here.
I look at the Crow and I'm like, yeah, that if Ernie Hudson voices the character of Commissioner Gordon, I'm like, just look at what he did with the Crow, the character he played. I forget the cop's name, but like, yeah.
Anything Ernie Hudson, I'm all about.
Yeah.
I love that man.
I know some people weren't rocking with it. I love the Harley Quinn thing.
Some people are not
bringing her into the 1940s golden age era and like kind of like doing a twist on her character, where the therapist is like more cheery, and then you get the Harley Quinn persona. It's way more dark and messed up. I like that. I think it's cool.
No, but RJ, for me though, it's like the Harley Quinn design. It doesn't rock for me, and plus as well, they race swapped her as well, so it's not,
Did they?
Does that really matter?
I mean, some people are complaining about it.
I'm sure, but like again, like that's such a nothing burger thing to get mad about. I mean
Bruce Timm.
Yeah, Bruce Timm created the character. He can do whatever the fuck he wants with it. So he makes her of a different ethnicity. That's his call. He made the character. He can do whatever he wants. People get mad about it. They can stay mad. Boo-hoo, cry me a river.
Make it make sense. That's all.
Exactly.
But what I think would make really sense with that, especially since we're going for that 40s noir pulp style. I mean, wouldn't it be awesome if it's like it has like some sort of like Chinatown kind, like
yes,
it's got a Chinatown section of the city. Like there's so much. I mean, when I saw interviews, I didn't read the EW article because honestly, I don't want to know too much. Like I just want August 1st to get here so I can just watch it.
Well, Scott, to add to that, did you ever play Arkham Knight?
Of course, I played Arkham Knight.
There's a Chinatown section in Arkham Knight.
Yes, there is. So I just, but what I'm thinking about here with this very 40s Pulp Fiction style storytelling, where they're like, there's no computers, there's no cell phones. They're intention, like Batman is not going to have a bajillion gadgets because the technology is not going to be there. And I am all down. I'm all down for that. Like, I love the designs. I love the 40s style.
Yes.
I mean,
but another thing too is like Harley Quinn apparently is going to be the therapist to Bruce Wayne.
Yep.
Okay, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Well, and that's kind of cool because now, take the quality of the show aside, they kind of did that with the Birds of Prey TV show, where Harley was the Huntress's therapist, and it was
They also kind of do it in the Harley Quinn TV show a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, right?
Yeah, they do.
Just a little bit.
There she is right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just excited that suddenly, like out of the blue, we get this article, we get some pictures, and we get a release date.
Yep.
I mean, Batman looks like Golden Age Batman. I mean, it's straight up Bob Kane Batman. It works for the art. The only complaint I had was I wanted pouches on the belt.
Fair. That's fair.
I mean,
are his gloves all black too? I couldn't really tell.
Yeah, they're all black. Yeah.
Okay, I would have liked them to be purple,
just for clarification,
but whatever.
But look at Catwoman. Catwoman looks.
Catwoman is straight up Golden Age. That is awesome.
Totally
straight up Golden
Age.
Totally Golden Age. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Just for clarification, though, so Bruce Timm is the writer and the showrunner. Then you have JJ and Matt Reeves producing.
Ed Brubaker's also in the writer's room too.
Well, Brubaker is more kind of like the head writer of the show. Bruce Timm is doing the art thing, because you got to remember, Bruce Timm has always been more of the design guy, the art guy.
He is one corny man, I will say.
If you go back to the OG series from '92, when we talk about writing, that was mainly
Paul Dini and a bunch of other people.
Well, really, even before Paul Dini got brought on, it was Alan Burnett.
You're right. Yeah.
You're right. I mean, so really, when we talk about the writing of the show, Bruce Timm was there for art and design. Paul Dini and Alan Burnett were there for the actual writing. So really, take Paul Dini and Alan Burnett and now just put Ed Brubaker in there.
Yeah.
And that's the role that Ed Brubaker is serving. It's kind of like they have other writers, but Brubaker kind of gets to sit like Alan Burnett did and kind of like run the staff.
Do you think they made a Bible for this in the same way they made for the animated series?
I hope so.
I hope so. Because, dear God, like I found the Bible. I've downloaded the Bible for BTAS. I shared it with Dave, but it's a tome. Like, dude, like it's crazy the amount of because some of the details didn't even end up translating to the show, but the fact that they had that like in their heads, because the whole point was if someone came on to write a show, it was just don't violate this.
Right. You follow the Bible.
You follow the Bible. Yeah. And I hope they did something like that for this show, because I'm ready for some content. My only hesitation right now, which is one reason why I'm cool with it being on Amazon, is Warner Brothers Animation has taken quite the downgrade, in my opinion, especially watching what Disney's been able to do with X-Men 97, and I want to look at that animation and go, you're shaded, you're celled, you're fluid, you have
it's
almost like
it
has almost an anime energy to it that I really enjoy. And Warner Brothers Animation for DC used to be so strong, and in the past several years it's just been like, I basically just say, just look at Young Justice season 1 versus Young Justice season 4.
Like, it was very janky in that, especially that season 4 finale.
Would you include My Adventures with Superman in that category?
No, I would not. And see, that's the thing, is My Adventures with Superman, they went full anime inspired, and it looks great. I look at something like, whether you hate it or not, I thought it was cute. Merry Little Batman.
Merry Little Batman is awesome. I don't care what anyone says. I love that fucking movie.
And the best thing about the animation for that movie is that they went different. They took a chance.
Yep.
And it was actually more fluid and more dynamic and more artistic than any of the direct-to-video movies they've produced in like the last 5 to 10 years. Yeah. So with Cape Crusader being on Amazon, what I'm hoping is that they have a budget and that they take some swings. I mean, yes, I can look at this and go, Bruce Timm designed this. because it looks like a Bruce Timm designed show. My concern is just, can it be fluid? Can it move? And will it not look stiff? And so I'm looking forward to seeing a trailer of some sort, just so that I can get a feel for the animation, because that's where I become a nitpicky asshole as a fan. Is I really need good animation. Like, I get really picky about animation.
Oh, we talk about this all the time.
Every week.
Yeah. To that point, though, Scott, I will say that when the initial trailer for X-Men 97 dropped, people had reservations about the animation itself, myself and Chris Balga included. And then when we watched the show, it was just leaps and bounds. I wouldn't say an improvement, but it was like we saw it in full, and it's like, oh, okay, this does work. So that said, since they dropped the article with photos, I can't imagine that a trailer can't be too far behind.
Oh yeah,
we're gonna get it.
The trailer just released, actually.
So I looked it up.
As far as the animation quality, I mean, like Amazon Prime. If any of you have, if you've seen Vox Machina, if you haven't, I highly recommend it.
That show,
that show is
Prime
amazing.
put me on is Invincible.
Oh, see, we disagree on Invincible.
Don't get Phil started.
I don't think Invincible looks that great, honestly.
Okay, Phil. You're not wrong. It could be.
It's the voice acting is great.
Sometimes there's just a scene where I don't know. They just drag a PNG of a character.
Okay, the voice acting is great. The animation, not so much. I can't get behind that.
I understand.
For Amazon, it's like one of the cheapest things they've ever done. I'm just kind of shocked. So
that's why I go by Vox Machina. But my point is that Amazon will give you the money to do some good stuff.
I tried looking up who's doing the animation for Crusader. I can't find it. But here's something interesting though. So the studio that does X-Men 97 is Studio Mir. They're based out of South Korea. They also do the animation for My Adventures with Superman.
They got it south.
Animation company. So I thought that was interesting. That one studio did both.
It's so interesting that y'all. I mean, I love a good animated thing too, and I want it to look good. But what I've noticed as so on Supergirl Radio, plug, we have gone back all the way through the Tomorrowverse to try to make sure that we watched Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 1, and we were so confused. So we went back and watched all the movies all the way through, and now we're still confused. And
did you watch Part 2?
Yeah, we've seen Part 2.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's still like what I don't. So I think for me the more important thing is having a good story that makes sense. Because if you start throwing in Commandy, the last boy on Earth, and you don't explain who he is and why he's there, people are not going to understand it.
See,
I think
Rebecca, to your point though, with Brubaker there, I'm not worried.
Yeah. No. I'm glad that you all have confidence in that. I just it was one thing I was listening to. I was like, yeah, animation, good animation is good. I mean, the Tomorrowverse, I love the animated style of the Tomorrowverse. They have really good action sequences.
I disagree hard with you on that one.
I like the animation style. I think the action sequences that I've seen have been really good, and I like the designs. The problem is they tell stories that don't totally make sense. I've seen every ding dang movie in that universe. I've even watched the shorts. I bought one of the Blu-rays so I could watch that Commandy short because you can't find it anywhere else. I've watched every single one of those, and I still don't know what's happening.
I think Scott has a really good point. Scott had a really good point when he did his Crisis 1 and 2 breakdown and review. When he did his Part 1 and Part 2 review, Scott says something effective. The biggest problem with the Tomorrowverse is they tell stories not animated that happened off screen, and that is their biggest problem.
Yeah. I think.
Well, I think that is a detriment to that universe.
Rebecca, you must be excited for My Adventures with Superman Season 2.
I'm so psyched.
Supergirl's coming. Supergirl's coming.
So I was already excited about Season 2 because Season 1 was so good. I have never loved Jimmy Olsen more than I do on My Adventures with Superman. He's the star of the show, in my opinion. So I was so excited to see what happens to millionaire Jimmy Olsen. I was like, hey, I'm in for this. But then the Supergirl was a kind of a surprise. Although way back before the show started streaming and airing, they did have a cast list on Wikipedia, and it did have Kara in there. So I was like, So it was kind of strange when she didn't appear in season 1. I was like, well, maybe it's Wikipedia.
They already had it ready. Yeah.
Yeah. So so I was kind of not surprised when Kara and Supergirl were in the
in that trailer where he's like, I'm not the only one, and it was like, and then all of a sudden you get the end, you see her go, and it was like, oh shit.
Well, season 1 ends on that cliffhanger of Brainiac being General Zod, and I was like, oh, they're doing that. I'm here for that. I think My Adventures with Superman really lends itself well to the anime style, because it's very out there kind of alien Superman.
It's very unique.
It is. Yeah. And I honestly, my favorite thing about the teaser in season 2, Alexander Luthor.
Yeah,
I love what they did with that version of Luthor. I can't wait.
They went with the hey,
they went with the best version of Lex Luthor. In my action.
Which, by the way, I'm gonna love if people and still like the fact that season 1 has been very popular. If season 2 is still popular and everyone loves this Luthor, I am so going to enjoy rubbing it in their faces.
Oh, don't do that. But
don't rub in the faces. But we can appreciate hey, there you go. I mean, obviously it fits with this style of Superman because we're dealing with like a very young Superman, a young everything, young Lois, young Jimmy.
You know
what? Like have a young.
What I'm looking forward to hearing in season 2, though, Michael Emerson as Brainiac.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I love Michael Emerson so much. Ben Linus is one of my all-time favorite characters from Lost, but his Brainiac voice does not sound good, in my opinion. He could be so much more sinister. And he doesn't sound sinister to me.
Rebecca,
to be fair, his not being sinister might be part of the point.
I don't know. I think it sounds goofy, in my opinion. And that's me coming from I'm a big fan of his, and he sounds a little goofy.
Have you watched Fallout yet, Rebecca?
What's that?
Have you seen Fallout?
No, I haven't.
Oh my God, he's in it, and he's fantastic.
He's great. He's fantastic.
He plays such a good villain, and so when I heard the trailer, I was like, oh.
See, well, that's he does play a good villain, but I also love the fact that he can play Gray. Like, I love him in Person of Interest.
Yes,
and as Mr. Finch, and I just think I love it when he isn't playing like an outright villain. I like it when he's playing the guy that you're like, I don't know about you. And the longer you can make me wonder, like, what's your real agenda?
Exactly.
He does it so well. Shout out, Rebecca. You probably know this, but he studied at the Alabama Shakespeare Festival in Montgomery.
He did, yeah. He spent time in Montgomery, Alabama.
Yeah, so that was.
So did Tony Hale from Arrested Development fame and Veep.
So that was kind of cool. But I would take, though, that we only heard like a small snippet of his Brainiac at the end of season 1, which we can say now because I think spoiler moratorium is done. Like, the show's been out for like a year now.
Over a year.
Yeah. Brainiac shows up in season 1, and then and then he's in the season 2 trailer. But I'm just curious, like, because Brainiac's working with Zod. Like, story-wise, because another cool thing about My Adventures with Superman, Rebecca, to your point about great writing, is that they don't feel beholden to any previous version.
Correct.
Of Superman.
I mean, the fact that Clark is not able to talk to Jor-El, that he can't understand a word he's saying for some reason.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that so much. When that was revealed, where he was just like, it's like, oh, okay, so we're gonna get that, and maybe there's gonna be some kind of translator thing, but there was like, nope, it was like he can't communicate, and it was like, oh wow, you guys took this to a whole other level from what Zach did when it came to, Clark communicating with his father on the ship, on the Kryptonian ship. I'm like, wow, good job. I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
If I had to
the whole
theorize
language.
anything,
yeah,
I feel like
and it ends with us kind of wondering if he's ever going to be able to talk to Jor-El again, because the ship is kind of destroyed right now, at least as far as.
That's what I think. I think if he ever gets a Fortress of Solitude, that is when he will finally be able to get to talk to Jor-El.
Yeah,
probably. Yeah,
it'd be cool.
There's gonna be something there.
Yeah,
gotta be something.
Well,
Gotta be.
and by the way, and I remember this going back to the conversation where someone was concerned about, Harley Quinn in the Cape Crusaders, but you know what? Because of the actress who's playing Lois Lane is more Asian in My Adventures with Superman, and because like I remember that episode. I remember it was the Parasite episode, where she's in an outfit for the party that looks more Asian inspired, and I loved that look. Yeah. And once again, did it matter to me that Lois Lane wasn't a straight up white girl in that show? No.
It fits the anime style.
It
so
does.
I think that was right with it.
And besides, Scott, it's funny you should say that because remember, everyone was whining about Lois being a redhead in Man of Steel.
Yeah.
Those people are ignorant about Lois Lane. Lois Lane has been a redhead in many incarnations, including one of the most popular ones on the Adventures of Superman with Noel Neal. So people need to know their Lois Lane history. That's a big one. Yeah.
And how great of a voice for Superman is Jack Quaid? Jack Quaid's so good.
Jack Quaid's great.
He's great. He is pretty great. Yeah.
Now,
but
I was
speaking of voices,
it work, but it worked.
But speaking of voices, like going back to Cape Crusader for a bit, like I said, like in the comments at the beginning of the stream, it's like whoever they have to voice that Bruce Timm has to voice Batman has some big shoes to fill, because everyone's thinking Bruce Timm, Batman. You know where they're thinking about.
Yeah,
but still, once again, Kevin Conroy is my Batman. That is always that. I don't feel like that's ever going to change. But once again, I want fans to be a little more open minded, because even I have heard other voices for Batman that I go, that works. Like
Bruce Greenwood.
Bruce Greenwood does a great job.
Jensen Ackles.
I like Jensen Ackles. Yeah.
Peter Weller.
Peter Weller, yeah.
I love Peter Weller.
Peter Weller, I'm still working on that.
RoboCop doing the voice of Batman, I like it.
Opposite Michael Emerson as the Joker.
Michael Emerson's Joker was...
I didn't like his Joker either. He has not done a good DC villain for me yet.
Oh, man.
I feel like the Michael Emerson is untapped.
I feel like I'm on an island here, man. I love his Joker.
An island with a smoke monster.
True. I love his Joker, though. His Joker is menacing, terrifying, and I love the way they play their relationship. It's very aged, like wine, and I love it. I love that 2-part epic. Oh my god, I love that movie so much. It's such a damn good movie.
It really. I mean, Jay Oliva, like, there.
Yeah.
I still love hearing the story that Jay Oliva tells. Like, that's his first directing gig.
Yeah.
Like it's like, and he wasn't even supposed to be, like, Lauren Montgomery was going to direct that before she left to go do Voltron for Netflix.
Yeah.
And then he lands it. And that's big shoes to fill, because you go back to those early direct-to-video movies, literally every one of those movies that I just absolutely adored was a Lauren Montgomery directed.
Well, she did Superman, Batman, Apocalypse.
She did that. She did Wonder Woman. She did basically all the ones that have the really amazing fight sequences in them.
All her. Yep.
So,
are you guys going to cover any of those movies on DC Fanimated by chance?
Probably.
I hope so.
Anything animated in the universe, we're kind of just going, yeah.
Awesome.
Because basically right now the idea, because I think I saw Laugh Now Cry Later ask if we're going to get to Batman Beyond. Funny enough, Dave and I were having this conversation.
We did.
Look forward to that around January.
I know. Like, Scott goes like, "Hey, when should I give you an extended amount? Like when we're gonna do like Batman Beyond, so that we can I can find the guy that does our animation stuff and like adapt it." I was like, "Are we already there?" I was like, "What?" But it was like, "No, we won't get there till 2025 at the beginning." Yeah. But I was like, "Whoa!" I was like, it tripped me out. I was like, "Yeah, we're gonna eventually get there." I'm like, "Yeah, that's gonna be interesting."
But think about that. But think about that. By the end of this calendar year, we will have wrapped up Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah.
Superman's going to
not
keep
Superman.
going. That's Superman. But we will have wrapped up Batman, and we'll be moving on to Batman Beyond in the beginning of 2025.
That's awesome.
Think about that.
That's so awesome.
Let me ask you guys. Are you going to watch? You know, like how the very last episode of the last episode of season 2, I believe, of Just League Unlimited is the epilogue episode, which is really supposed to be the grand finale of Batman Beyond. So, are you going to be seeing that after Batman Beyond? Or
No. We are watching these in
production
in production order. So we will watch them. We will watch them because yes, that was the end of season 2, and even though once again it's released as season 1 and season 2 are released on DVD as season 1. And no, there's 2 different seasons in there. But no, we're watching everything in production order. That's why this is a little bit of a spoiler, but we're going to start talking about Batman Beyond before we finish Superman the Animated Series. Because Batman Beyond started airing while Superman was still on the air.
Yeah.
Yep.
So trust me, before I went to go see Barbie on opening weekend, I sat down as Heather did her makeup, and I literally have every episode mapped out from that point all the way to when we start watching Batman Beyond. I even figured out when we're going to watch Return of the Joker in the mix. And
I was confused about that. Wait, where does that take place?
Oh, I'll tell you. Will 2025.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
I know where it slots timeline-wise for Batman Beyond.
Like we replaced the movies when it came to previous stuff.
Yeah. I know where it slots. But
because there's production things with voices and things like you can figure things out. But no, it's we're going to continue on that journey. But to your point, Phil, Dave and I've talked about those other movies. It's like when we finally get to the end of the DC animated universe, that doesn't mean we want the stream to stop.
Right.
So, but like I said, we're going to be getting to season 1 of Batman Beyond in 2025. So we've got a ways to go.
We've got a ways to go because there's so much animated stuff, and then even going back to Cape Crusader, we're going to be talking about those episodes as well.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
We got some added content to talk about. Obviously we're not going to be talking about it right as it premieres, but we'll eventually get to Cape Crusader, and of course we're going to be talking about it. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this image of Batman. I love the fucking ears that are just like not only are they long, but they go outward. So, and then of course the gloves are just regular gloves, and just keeping with the theme of the whole thing. Yeah, he's got a diaper on.
but hey, before we do it, but guess what? So did Kevin Conroy's Batman. It's like guys, just. But however, if we wanted, because I'm so sick and tired of this Trunks argument. I'm bored.
Yeah, I know.
But I'm bored and frustrated by it. But once again. But especially since this show is set in the 40s.
Of course it's going to have those.
Of course, because once again, it's the circus strongman costume, which is why all those superhero costumes historically had them in the first place. So it's like, that works.
When it comes to the Trunks, it's like, okay, so like last night on the Vodka stream, we pulled up, I pulled up the art from Job Huts, whatever, and he made his own version of like a standing up like corn sweat, and everything looked good, but he had the Trunks be like basically what are they boxer briefs kind of thing, where it's like they're not exactly so they're now the argument's going to be is like, should they be more Speedo like, or they should be like this, that. I mean, that's the thing. Now we're gonna get to the point where like the Trunks are back when it comes to this stuff, but it's like, what do they look like? Should we have it where, because his version was more boxer brief, where where everything was kind of lined up, like where the fabric is when it comes to it. It's like, hey, when it stops on the legs, it's the same with the crotch. I know. I don't know why. This is so weird that I'm even saying this right now.
TMI, Dave.
But at the same time, it's like there is an argument of like, how do you make the undies outside look good? And I'm like, all right, so you have Batman, Cape Crusader. Yeah, you can make it look however you want, and
because he's wearing tights. I think that's the thing. The trunks.
Okay.
Here's the thing with the trunks. The trunks work really well when they're wearing tights, because what do you think the trunks were there in the first place for?
Yeah,
because it was meant to
conceal
the package.
Yes.
You know, when you're wearing skin tight trunk, when you're wearing spandex,
and also defend himself from any kicks.
Ouch.
Protect the junk. Yes.
Right. You know, jock straps. Football players are very aware of this.
I love it.
But once again, so
The bat junk.
It is weird to see them on outfits that aren't tight, because once again, I don't blink an eye when I see Christopher Reeve or George Reeves wearing them with their costumes, because they were fabric, they were tights. It goes with the outfit.
And they're also based in the time period. So Adventures of Superman was made in the 1950s. So that's the way Superman looked in the 1950s. Correct. Christopher Reeve's movies were based on the Silver Age Superman. And so that's the way Superman looked in the Silver Age. So they're keeping with the era that they're pulling from. That's why I like when people talk crap about the Supergirl the movie. I'm like, but she's based in Silver Age Supergirl. Like they're making a Silver Age Supergirl movie. That's why it's like that. So I think that's something also to consider is when you're making a movie, where are you putting that in time? But I think that's a really good point, because David Cornsweat's suit doesn't look like that. It doesn't look like it's skin tight sort of tights in that way. So I think that's a valid point.
Right. I mean, like, because again, it's like, and Zack Snyder has said himself, like from the beginning, is like that in the beginning, like they were trying to see if the trunks worked, but they don't work because, as I said before, Henry Cavill's suit is armor, is like an armor for a knight in shining, is for a knight. Yeah. So trunks don't work with that. They work with tight. Sure they don't work with armor. And do they work with a working man's uniform? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure he equated it to more of an Under Armour, not an actual armor, but yeah.
True, but it's still
it's like a Kryptonian armor kind of thing, you know. It's like, I mean, obviously,
so really, if you think about it, Cavill's suit is entirely underwear. So you know,
true.
So if you think of, I mean, it is. I mean, because the armor went over it. We literally saw that happen in the movie.
Yes.
So. I'll be very interested, because once again, it's not about whether there's trunks or no trunks. It's about.
It absolutely is. I would argue for no trunks. So for me, it is. But go ahead, Scott.
For me, it's about the design. Is it of a piece? You know, that's the thing. Do I prefer no trunks? Absolutely, because I've been spoiled with that. With the New 52, Cavill, Hecklin's outfit on Superman and Lois doesn't have trunks.
He did at the beginning when they had early.
The Fleischer
suit.
Yeah, that was like his first one that like his Superman.
But the thing is, that, and this will get lost in the conversation so often too. Just like I hope people realize, like, regardless of how the suit looks, it means nothing for the quality of the final film. He could be wearing like a metal thong, and that doesn't mean like the movie's gonna be bad.
That's true. That's true.
Except a bad look does stick out like a sore thumb, though.
Yeah.
But once again,
be distracting.
It can be distracting. But once again, to the point, I just it's hard to say I want the movie to be good, because once again, everyone's going to have their own definition of what good is, and so it's just, but I want to be able to enjoy it, because it can be because Brandon Routh's suit, for my pros and cons of Superman Returns, the parts that I like and the parts that I don't like, I'll be honest. I never liked Brandon's suit. It just never. It never worked for me. I didn't like the colors. I didn't like the S on the belt.
I actually did. I actually liked the colors.
See,
I liked it
because it's an aesthetic.
Yeah.
You know, and it depends on what your mileage is on the aesthetic. So I think to the point is that people are going to hem and haw here or there about the aesthetic, but can we make the movie? But will I enjoy the movie? Will I enjoy the story that's being told? Will I enjoy the characterizations that are being presented? I mean, the casting is something that I'm excited about. Like I said, I like the idea that I like corn. I don't know corn sweat from a hole in the ground, which is fine. That's a great tradition of Superman. Is I have no idea who the Superman is.
Which is usually the case when it comes to Superman casting.
Exactly. But I get Nicholas Hoult. But I get Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. You know, I like Nicholas Hoult.
There's a lot of wins when it comes to this casting.
Exactly. I get I was as soon as Rachel's name was in the running, I was down. Like I was like, if Rachel doesn't get the role, I'm like, the movie's a failure. Like that.
You know what's funny about that, Scott? Is like the minute I heard that Rachel Brosnahan was in the running for Lois Lane, and then when I saw the 3 names in the shortlist for Superman, in the back of my mind, I was like, it's going to be David Cornsweet and Rachel Brosnahan. Sure enough, that's exactly who landed the role. And I was like, okay. I did not. No. That's all James. That's all James Gunn. That's not me. But like, because, you know, not even just gauging it from a public perception perspective, I was like, if James Gunn is going to cast anyone who looks like those characters from the comics, especially from a modern perspective, it's probably going to be the 2 people who actually do look like the characters. Anyone else on those shortlists didn't really look like Clark and Lois. So I was like, yeah, it's probably going to be those 2. And sure enough, it was. And
I'm sure that they have great chemistry.
That too. Yeah, I was just going to say that.
By the way, sorry, tangent. This is just a me and her comment. But Rebecca, have you heard that there's going to be a brand new Lois Lane feature running in Action Comics that's going to be written by Rainbow Rowell?
I have not heard this.
So yes. Gail Simone's going to be writing the like a Superman story, and then Rainbow Rowell's going to be writing a Lois Lane feature that basically every Action Comics is going to be 2 stories for like a period of time. So go check it out. I thought,
cool. Yeah, I'll put that on my pull list because I try to collect Lois Lane comics. So
Gail Simone is doing double time on Superman and X-Men. That's awesome.
Yeah, and apparently she's also been doing some Rebel Moon stuff, which is So I'm just like, girl, work it. Like, I haven't always supported everything Gail Simone has written, but when she's on point, she's on point. So
someone actually joked like exactly what you're saying. When she's good, she's great. When she's not good, has characters talking about what they're eating.
Yeah. Well, I think she's writing the Nemesis prequel comic.
Yes, she is.
So and I'm really excited for her X-Men, but I think she's writing the main one, Uncanny, and that's going to feature Gambit and Rogue. And
I think she is Uncanny. Yeah.
Because
there's Uncanny, and there's X-Men.
There's Uncanny, there's normal X-Men, Exceptional X-Men,
X-Men. There we go.
And then a new Wolverine series.
There's also a Phoenix series too, I think.
Yes, Phoenix series. I'm excited for the X-Men relaunch next month. It should be good.
That's going to be pretty cool. That feels like a nice jumping on point for fans who are just getting off of X-Men 97 and they want more X-Men. That's
most likely, yeah.
Like
that's going to be jumping into that. So
I might. Yeah, I haven't collected any single issues in quite some time. Matter of fact, the last single issue I got was Ultimate Spider-Man #1, written by Hickman. So I don't know. I might jump back into single issue soon, but I might just wait for trade paperbacks like I always tend to.
Well, the only thing I've been getting single issues of is like I've been getting Batman 89, I've been getting Superman 78, I've been getting the Rebel Moon stuff. You know, I'm back to miniseries. Like, give me a nice contained story where I can like punch out.
How has 89 been, by the way? Because I saw that they were doing Scarecrow and apparently Harley Quinn.
I'll tell you this. I was underwhelmed by the first 6 issues of Batman 89. I haven't read a single thing of Superman 78 yet.
I got a hot take for you, Scott. I've read both. I actually almost kind of prefer Superman 78 to Batman 89.
But no, but that's what I've heard. Like people, I've heard more glowing reviews of Superman 78. But it's also Robert Venditti, and I really enjoy Robert Venditti.
That's exactly it.
But here's the thing about Batman 89 Echoes. There has been some major production delays. I don't know if it's writing, if it's art, or what the issue is, because issue 2 hasn't come out yet, or and Superman 78 is done. Like all 6 issues of Superman 78 are over. And 89, I think maybe has only released issue 1. I don't know.
So. Yeah.
So it's been interesting because I've been trying to pre-order the books from the online vendor that I use, and it's been kind of like waiting. Like the pre-orders haven't even been up.
Batman 89 Echoes is the new TMNT Last Ronin.
Have you been reading World's Finest?
No, I have not. Here's the deal. That's a monthly book, and I stopped reading monthly books. Mark Waid is a writer that I have a tortured relationship with Mark Waid.
Huh?
Yeah. Actually, funny enough, from Hueytown, Alabama, and
well, that explains a lot, actually.
So
it's a territory thing.
It's kind of funny. We can claim Mark Waid and we can claim Jason Aaron. So I have a lot more positive things about Jason Aaron. The thing about Mark Waid for me is that once again, when he is on, he can write some amazing stuff. But then he opens his mouth, and it's just like, can you not shoot yourself in the foot?
Yeah.
Do you mean like on social media?
Yes, on social media. Usually his comics are not an issue for me, but him as a person, can rub. It's one of those where it's like separating the art from the artist, and he makes it. Dude, he makes it really hard.
I find that to be the case with a lot of comic creators, and it's very disappointing to me because their work can be really good, but they're such jerks. A lot of them are just big jerks, and I'm like what's his face, Ryan from The Office, where like every time one of them is like a jerk to a fan on social media, I'm like writing their name down in like a list that I'm keeping of like people I'm not going to support anymore, and it's going to be a kind of a big list. So I don't know why they do that. I don't know why they think it's going to win them people.
Why be an asshole? Right?
Yeah, I don't understand that. So I'm glad that other people have noticed that other than me, because I felt like I was alone in that.
You know who wasn't an asshole?
It's a meme among several comic fans nowadays. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's a meme. Mark Waid is a prick.
It's funny. When I met Neil Adams, he was anything but that. He was genuine. He was cool. He was having fun with the crowd. He was telling stories about how he came to create Jon Stewart. It was awesome. And I asked him of the pronunciation of Ra's al Ghul, whatever, and he was like, "It's entirely up to you." And I was like, "Fantastic answer."
There you go.
Such a legend, such a nice person, and I'm just like, man, I wish more people were like him.
Well, it's just weird because, like I said, and World's Finest also came out right at that time where they put the trunks back on Superman and Batman for no reason whatsoever, and it just felt like, and it was after Death Metal, and it once again it was just all this stuff that was like, I'm done with the comic books right now. If I read them, I still have my DC Universe Infinite subscription. So it's just kind of like it's my Netflix of DC Comics. Like when I get around to something, I'll just, I'll tap on it and I'll read it on my iPad. And I can't believe I've become that person.
Oh, but on your iPad.
I know, but it's a nice big iPad Pro, so it's pretty. So
I wasn't talking about the size, but okay.
Okay, I was. Size matters, Dave.
Yeah, I know.
So,
apparently,
but it's just kind of hard for me now because the one thing that makes me want to read World's Finest though is Dan Mora's art.
Yep.
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
it's the art.
Dan Mora is an incredible artist.
Dan Mora is an amazing artist, and that's a thing where I'm one of those people that even if the writing's good, if the art is crap, I can't do it. I need it, but it also can be flipped where the art can be pretty, but if the writing's crap, it's like, I can't do this either. Kind of going back to your point, Rebecca, when you were talking about the animation versus, the story that's being told. I need both. I'm greedy like that. It's like, give me quality all the way around. So,
especially in a comic book for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of the art. It's kind of the purpose of the art form. So I have not been reading World's Finest, but I hear good things. I'm just not in a place yet where I'm willing to commit the time. But whenever I do, I'll just fire up DC Universe Infinite and I'll just, I'll swipe through.
Yeah,
that's how I read Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. And honestly, I the more I read into it, the less faster I was swiping. It's actually a really solid story. I don't know if I'm going to get around to reading World's Finest because I'm in kind of the same boat as Scott is, but I do think that Dan Mora's art would be the #1 reason for me to check it out. That dude draws phenomenally. He's fantastic artist.
The next animated movies, they should use his art style.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. He started off doing Power Rangers and then he slowly moved over to DC.
Oh, yes, because he did the Kyle Higgins run on Power Rangers with Shattered Grid.
Yep.
And that was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, Dan Moore is a fantastic artist. If you put him on a main Batman book or a main Superman book, trunks or no trunks, I'd fucking read the shit out of that. Depends on the writer though. That's also for sure. Like if it was Scott Snyder and Dan Mora, 100%, I would absolutely read the shit out of that. And again, Batman or Superman, I've seen Scott Snyder write both characters, so yeah, I'd be down for that.
I mean, I know some people aren't fans of like Mark Waid's online act. I mean, I like his work personally. I mean, but that's just me,
No.
Anyways,
I like some of it. I mean,
I know it's so awkward.
No,
I know, right? It got silent. It was like,
it was fine. It's like I like some of his work, but there's other like Kingdom Come. Really enjoy it. Birthright. I don't understand why people hail it as this wonderful Superman story because I don't care about Birthright. So
really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
No, because I used to do this thing back when my only social media was Facebook, like right before like Dark Knight came out and right before Man of Steel came out, I would do these 16 days of Superman and these 16 days of Batman, where I would read something or watch something related to the character as like a 16-day countdown. And I would use it as an excuse to read things or watch things that I hadn't read or watched before. And I remember in that countdown, I read Birthright because everyone, like, people talked about with Smallville, and it had all this hype behind it, and I read it, and I just kind of went, eh.
All right. I'm gonna say make me sound like a cinematic heretic, but that was exactly my reaction to Citizen Kane. After all these years of everyone telling me it's the greatest movie ever made, I finally saw it and I went, eh.
Well, that's a lot of things when it comes to that. Especially if you're going to compare it to movies, it's like nowadays. So yeah, if you were to be like, oh, Godfather, that's the movie, you watch it, and some people go, I'll watch it and be like, I see how how this movie is crafted, but is it a movie that I'm going to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to watch this tomorrow because I love it so much? No, I'm going to put on fucking Fight Club or something like that. It was like, that's a movie where it's just there's just something about it. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Fight Club is very you. That makes sense.
Yeah, but it's hype backlash again. It's like if you spent all this time like hearing about how great it is and finally you getting around to seeing it, it's inevitably not going to be that great.
it's never going to be that great. When people recommend shit, it's like,
yeah.
I don't know. It's always like a weird thing when it comes to that. I don't know. Like, and even when I go, like, when I recommend movies to people, I'm like, I don't know. But you have to think about, like, if you recommend something, even if it's a comic book or a movie to a friend, or, you know, even if they're not a close friend, you're like, oh yeah, if you like, you know, you'll like this. It's like, maybe they won't. You have to like gauge. You know, you have to like kind of gauge of like how they
you
are.
have to personalize the recommendation.
Exactly.
Like, because there are movies that I absolutely love that I will never, that I like, there are people in my life I would never recommend them to, because they would hate them with every fiber of their being, just as much as I love them.
I don't know how many times I've like, oh yeah, this movie, and I'm like explaining, I'm like, you won't like it. I'll just look at the person and be like, you won't like it, because I just know. I'm like, yeah, like one of my really good friends that I always get together with, try to do it once a month, and we just hang out and fucking listen to music and shit like that, and get drunk off our asses. But like, he's like, he reads a lot of books. He has so many books. But when it comes to movies, his attention span is not there. So I'm like, when I go like, man, you would actually really like this story, but you don't have the attention span to fucking watch this movie. I'm like, I know you because I know you. I'm like, damn it. I wish we could actually sit down and watch this 2 hour and 44-minute movie. But I know you're just going to be like, what? Yeah, you're going to get fidgety. And I'm like, but if you were to read this in a book, you would probably love it because the story is good, but I can't see you sitting here watching this long movie, even though I know you would love the story. It's such a funny thing. And that's, you know, one of my good friends is like, he's such a book reader, but it's hard for him to sit down and for like a longer movie than 2 hours. He gets fidgety. It's like, yeah, it sucks.
Dave, I'm just showing like the drawing I've just finished.
Oh,
all right. Quick change of subject. Yeah, there's Spider-Man.
Nice.
Good job.
Good drawing. Good job. Oh, so
trying to catch Gwen
yeah.
Stacy, and yeah,
showing her falling. Yeah. No, yeah. From
that
the bell
coloring
tower.
is great.
Yeah. I like the action, the background. It's like an action shot. Kind of.
Oh yeah, I took those images from like the Spider-Man PS5 game. Like just get those backgrounds and
because it does make it look like he's falling. Yeah. In the reflection too. Yeah, like you said.
Cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Good stuff. Good stuff, man.
Oh wow, that's awesome!
Oh wow!
Look at that!
Attention to detail.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, look at that detail. I like it, man.
That's emotional.
Good job.
Yeah.
Yes. I wonder if he'll catch her or not. Probably not.
No, it's good, man.
Yeah,
good job. Good job.
Wow.
Like it. So you and Dawson, when like, and when it comes to like the streams, like I like when Dawson's like, drawing something as he's doing it, and then he posts about it. It's like, oh, that's what you're doing. Yeah. So I like that.
What you should do sometime with these streams, if Axel wanted to do it, I went to a Dragon Con panel one time where it was like create a villain, and so people like threw out from the crowd, like threw out suggestions on like what's this guy's story? What does he look like? Does he have a scar? Does he like to play poker? And it was pretty cool.
Here's the character me and my partner made up. We're making a script together. It's sort of like a Brightburn, but with Spider-Man.
Okay.
Our character's name is Funnel Web, and we made like a whole blog, like website about it. And yeah, he's coming up with like how we're gonna make the suit and stuff. And it's gonna be sort of inspired by Catwoman from Batman Returns, like the leathery and stitches and stuff. And yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Look at that. Droga inspired by James Gunn. That's pretty awesome. You don't see that every now and again.
Yeah, coming.
All right. That's a good way to end the stream right there. I appreciate this was a great, a lot of great conversations, like I said. And thank you, Rebecca, Scott, and Phil for coming on, who are normal, and Axel, who are normal panelists. And then of course, thank you to the people who are supporting this. Of course, when it comes to, I'm just gonna call you TP because I already know I'm gonna butcher your name.
It's all good. Don't worry, Dave.
I know.
Taladia?
Yeah, Taladia. Yeah,
Taladia
Plays.
Hard. There we go. Okay. I couldn't remember, and I've had some moments tonight. And then, of course, RJ, Eric. Thank you, guys. Eric, of course, is the executive producer of tonight's stream, and he's going to be the executive producer for Film Junkie Live all next week, and even the DC Fanimated. So, thank you for your guys' support and a really good conversation. Let's go around the horn and promote anything we want to do. We'll start with Phil. If you have anything to promote.
At the moment, as of tonight, no, not really. Tomorrow, me and Craig are going to be talking about, Batman.
Well, that's something.
Crusader. Yeah, so that'll be out sometime within the next week or so on the Eternal Night podcast. I'm sure, since Dawson wasn't on the show last Wednesday, I'm sure him and Andre and Ryan will probably provide some thoughts on the Superman suit next Wednesday for nerds. Other than that, if anyone wants to follow me on the interwebs, I'm pretty much everywhere except X, Twitter, whatever the hell your preference is on calling that website. Yeah, fuck Twitter. Fuck that place. It's a horrible place. Awful place. But yeah, unfiltered at Threads, Vero, Instagram, all that fun stuff. Right. Thank you again for the invite.
No, always, man. RJ, you got anything?
Yeah, no. Well, first off, thank you for inviting this and doing all this. It's been fun, good conversation. I do a video game channel podcast with a couple of buddies called Controller Chronicles. YouTube, I think it's youtube.com/ControllerChronicles64. We do a lot of stuff. We just had a live stream talking about the Xbox situation. Lots more to come next month. A lot of video game stuff going on next month. But yeah, if you want to follow me on the socials, it's Resident Justice, pretty much every platform out there. And again, thanks for doing this.
Yeah, always great talking to you, man. Eric.
Well, you can find me on YouTube at Hardboiled Entertainment. You can find me on Twitter X at Hardboiled Films. Hopefully, I still need to finish getting settled here at this new place, but you'll see more of my my old movie articles being reposted. I most recently did ones on the first 3 Dirty Harrys, and I'll be doing my next one on a certain more recent classic from the great Steven Spielberg. Look forward to that.
Ooh, looking forward to that. Rebecca.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It's always a pleasure to talk with all of you. You can find me on Supergirl Radio. So we are all on the social medias at Supergirl Radio. You can hang out with us usually on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, but I think this week we're going to be Monday because I have a conflict on Tuesday. But you can go to youtube.com/DCTV podcast. That's with an S. That's where we live stream. We're going to be talking about Rebel Moon Part 2, the Scar Giver. So if you want to come hang out with us and talk about Rebel Moon, that would be really fun. And we're also going to be almost right after that, we're going to get back into My Adventures with Superman Season 2. So if you want a really fun way to share your thoughts on My Adventures with Superman, come hang out with us because we really like the show and have a good time talking about it. And you can also check out my personal YouTube at youtube.com/duckmilkprod. I've been doing some interviews with some Zack Snyder fans that I need to get published. I need to pull the trigger on those, but those should be coming out fairly soon. So I'm going to do a series about people doing cool things in the Snyder fandom. So lots of content for me, but just follow me on all the things and subscribe where available.
Nice. All right, TP, got anything?
Yep. So you can follow me on Twitter at TaladiaPlays_, and on YouTube I'm at Taladia Plays. I am doing Snyder Fans Read Comics, where I cover New 52 from Jim Lee and Jeff Johns with my co-host Comics League, which Dave, you co-tweeted him a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
And he and I just talk about comics and what inspired Zack Snyder to do Justice League, so to say, and we just have a conversation and just talk about every Justice League member and go through the issue week by week on every Wednesdays.
I like it. Awesome. So check that out, guys. And then, of course, Axel.
You can find What? Oh yeah, you can find me at Droga52. I've started a new show called Geek Gazette where we've only just done one episode, and we're gonna probably do one either today or tomorrow. I'm feeling a bit sleepy, like the president. So yeah, we're just doing a new show there, and yeah. Thank you for having me on, Dave. It was fun.
Yeah,
as always. And, yeah.
I like that dig at the president, Sleepy Joe, right? I get it. Yeah, I think a lot of anyways, but thank you. I know Scott, like yeah, I was just like realizing, whoa, Scott left. So, but thank you to Scott, thank you to William, thank you to Brad, and thank you to everybody who's been watching, and thank you everybody on the panel. Thank you for supporting the the Patreon and stuff like that, and then of course just thank you to just creating a good panel. Like I said, I like it when I do these, because then it's like when people couldn't make the Vodka stream, hey, you can make it on one of these right here, and
oh yeah,
it's always great. So all right, guys, we love you, and we'll talk to you later.